We'll do it live. We'll do it live.
This is what these guys do, man.
5,
You
4, 3,
can't
2, 1.
control them. You can't control them.
Oh, we're
These
live?
guys, yes, we are live. Thanks, Coach. We're
No,
live.
we were live.
We'll do it
Literally
live.
said,
We'll
you know
do
what
it
I say?
live.
You know what I say? We're going live. We're actually going live. That's crazy, right?
I didn't know you
What
really
a
were going
concept.
live, bro.
Oh, no.
Well,
Yeah, we joke around here. We just have fun and games. We joke about it. Yes, we're live. Anyways, appreciate
always
everybody for
begged-
tapping in.
I
Yeah,
peg
go ahead.
Coach is a big fan of Bill O'Reilly. You know,
Yeah. Oh, come on,
yeah,
man. Come on.
yeah,
You
you're-
pinheads. You pinheads. You don't know who you're talking about. You pinhead. Bill's my guy.
Golly.
Billy
Unbelievable
O!
with these two. Unbelievable. Listen, it's a big show tonight, minus Vish. Vish will be back next week. We will run it and we'll rotate through channels again. But tonight, you got it on all 3 channels. Coach is filling in very admirably, just like he did when Vish was on vacation. There is so much to talk about. We got free agency. We can talk draft if we want. We'll see. We'll see where the show takes us. But either way, we're going to have fun and we're going to get it started next. All right, welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second. And as I said, it's a big show. I've got my guy, Larry, and I got my guy, Coach, filling in for Vish tonight. Larry, let's start with you, my man, since you are next to me here in the trio. How you doing tonight?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. Doing great. Did some yelling and screaming last night on my channel. But you know what?
I
got it all out.
Heard that you're a Kyle Shanahan fanboy. Is that what did it for you?
Yeah, that when I saw that, I was just like, sons of bitches. I've been sitting there asking the fucking tough questions for all season long. I'm the one who called out Chase Young, and I'm getting the fanboy thing. It's like, if I'm the fanboy, then what are those other media people who are like, excuse me, Brock, how many of your family are going to be going to Vegas? Excuse me, is Mooney Ward, is he sensitive? I mean, these are some of the questions that I endured this year. And so the fanboy thing rubbed me wrong. It rubbed me wrong.
That's what happens, though. You know, sometimes here's what people don't understand is that obviously we're just human. We're on the other side of the camera. And yeah, sometimes we have bad days or we have things that perturb us. And it's not easy. That's one thing that I think a lot of people don't necessarily expect. They are happy to get the views. They're happy to get the engagement. But people genuinely get personal on here and hide behind a keyboard and hide behind an avatar. And sometimes it gets to you. It's frustrating because you're like, man, I would love to wring your neck right now, but I don't even know who you are. So I get it. Coach, my man, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad you guys put me in. You know what I'm saying? I got tabbed in to come through.
Brought in the righty.
Yeah, you guys got a mean bench. You know what I'm saying? So I got called up. But I'm glad to be here, man. You know, sitting here to talk about the offseason. Like, I truly do feel this way. Like, the Super Bowl is it. The bad taste is out of my mouth. I'm really focused on the offseason. I'm focused on keeping our guys, how we're going to shape up. So, like, I'm really excited. Let's go, man.
By the way, Jesse, Coach, I don't know about your streams with Coach, but the streams that I do with Coach on Saturdays are blowing up. And Coach went off Saturday. I wish I could turn it into a highlight. I probably could get Kev to turn it into a highlight. And the comments were just for days. I mean, literally thousands of comments.
Really?
Yes. I mean, that I could tell you what the views were. And the views were fat. But yeah, I mean, it was an incredible episode. And so, you know, once a week Coach is not enough. We got to go more.
Hey, it's my guy, man. I'm glad that I'm getting a response from the fans. And at the same time, like, I'm not infallible. So it's good to be on the journey, man.
Well, before we get started with our topics tonight, we do have a super chat. Manny says, great game plan here. He says, if we cut Purdy pre 6-1, we only take a $38,000 cap hit. Nice, man.
Good to
Real
know. It's
nice.
good to know.
Yeah, yeah. In case we were wondering what it would look like to cut Brock Purdy, there you go. All right. Speaking of cuts, there's a great way to parlay into this. Larry, there was a clip that went viral, and it's funny because people will take a clip and they won't do any research on their own, and they won't look into what was actually said, what was said before, what was said after. But somehow this take became your take, and I don't even know that that is the case. But either way, I'm going to have you walk us through it. Something along the lines of cutting Dre Greenlaw, cutting Juszczyk, and trading Ayuk. What was this viral clip about, and was it actually your opinion, or what was the thought process there?
I filled in on the radio on 95.7 The Game on Monday, Friday and Monday, and on Monday they asked me about this in this like face-off crossover, and I had just read the Barnwell and the Graziano ESPN.com pieces, and there's just no question the 49ers are going to have to make some tough decisions. They don't have to cut anybody. Their big moment is really next year. Next year, 2025 offseason, is when they got to decide, because this is the last year of Brock Purdy on the rookie deal. This is the last year you're going to have a quarterback at 800 or 900,000. In a year from now, you're going to be paying the guy 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million, who knows? So this is the last year. So they could run it back this year and do it, and not cut any of these guys. But I think, to me, the far more likely scenario is that some of their there's going to be some bloodletting on this team. There's going to be some turnover. Greenlaw is my favorite Niner, and I love the guy, and he's the last guy that I would cut, but he's not going to play this year, most likely. Modern medicine is incredible, but there's a very good chance he won't play, or won't play till late in the year. So I'm not saying that they're going to say goodbye to him, but I think there's a chance that he may play on that 2.1 million injury pay exception. And then Juszczyk, I do think, has a high likelihood to be cut. And Ayuk, as much as I love Ayuk, I think that absolutely the idea of what to do with the receivers and the possibility of discussing or of trading Brandon Ayuk is being discussed at the 49er complex. And I know that rubs a lot of people wrong, because, Ayuk is, obviously a great player.
He's a homegrown guy. Yeah.
Homegrown player, all pro wide receiver, blocks downfield, not a diva, fits the culture, but I think we'd be naive to not look at the Niners situation and go, hey, wait a second. Or do they want to they've got Debo making 28. They want to re-up Juwan. Can't pay everybody. Are you going to have a wide receiver room that costs $55 million or something like that in a league where you're 32nd in the league in pass attempts? So that's all I was saying. Just that the idea, I'm not endorsing it. I'm not rooting for it. But they do have some tough decisions to make. I think Juice will probably wind up getting cut. And I think at least the possibility of trading Ayuk is going to be bandied about.
Man, you think Juice will get cut? Okay. It's interesting, because that was my thought really all last offseason, is that he was going to get cut this offseason. And now I'm not so sure. I wish I wasn't going back on this take, because you're so confident in it and I'm not as confident in it. But I definitely could see a path, or did see a path a year ago, that was a possibility. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Coach, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that the 49ers will or should cut those guys? How do you see it playing out for them?
Yeah, I mean, I love the players that we have, but it is time to move on. It's time for us to kind of reshape what we're doing. And for what Juice is giving us, I mean, at one point, you really could say, like, all right, what Juice gives us is kind of one of one. Where are we going to find a fullback that puts out the production that he does, the smarts, him being able to do the dirty work, being a malcontent. But for what it's worth, like the money aspect of it is just way too much. He's just not worth the price tag. And I do feel like it's time to move on from Juice amicably, but it is still time to move on. As far as Brandon Ayuk, I want to keep him. I don't think that trading him is something. If it can be done, keep him. And he's a homegrown guy that deserves his money. He did it the right way. He put himself in the right position, and not only did he put himself in the right position, but it kind of would show that the culture works. Nick stayed quiet. He got his money, right? Debo, quiet somewhat, but he got his money. Fred came through, handled his business, got paid, he got his money. Now, one thing that will be a little revealing is that Brandon Ayuk has kind of let himself kind of let the cat out the bag about exactly how he feels about how he's being used on this offense. He obviously feels like he's being underutilized. That is clear. Okay. He obviously also feels like he needs more of a role, and because of how he's utilized, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's not necessarily going to be malleable when it comes time to negotiate his contract. Where he stands with that with the 49ers, I don't know, right? Because the 49ers as an organization, they're a little disjointed, right? We like to think of them as a cohesive unit, but it's compartmentalized. Parag in the front office handle things primarily with the guys when it comes to finances. Kyle and John necessarily talk to the boys about where they stand with the team. And we also know that as far as John and Kyle are concerned, Kyle has always made it known that he really tries his best to stay as far away from the negotiations as possible. If and when there's something that, in case of emergency, break glass here, like a Trent Williams going to the Chiefs situation where he has to call Kyle literally in the middle of the night and say, look, you're about to wake up to a surprise, bro. I got to let you know what's going on. Outside of that, I do think that it's going to be all right. And the reason why I feel like he won't get traded is because I'm trusting in Brandon Ayuk's resolve. You see how Nick Bosa stayed quiet. He didn't balk. He stayed resolute in his position, and they ended up finding a way how to get it done. I feel the same way about Brandon. And also, one of the biggest things is that losing Brandon for me would just suck because we have so much equity in him, right? Like he's not just some turnkey receiver. He was talented when we got him, right? He had all of his skill set, but he was not turnkey. He did not have our edict. He didn't have our culture. He didn't know how to be a pro. And the reason what's emblematic of that is the doghouse saga of Brandon Ayuk, right? He came in during the pandemic. He got used in a lot of different ways throughout the offense. And he didn't necessarily understand at that time that you have to earn those reps. You have to earn those routes. You have to earn those packages. And coming into next year, he kind of ran up against a wall with not necessarily putting out the production that he needed to. And it worked. He was better for it. That saga right there, for me, is worth his weight in gold because one of the best things about Brandon Ayuk, which is almost impossible to say about a receiver. I mean, Larry, how many times do you say this about a receiver? He's just as good with the ball out of his hands as he is with it, right? Like he's blocks. He's a threat to take the top off of the defense. He runs every route like he's going to get the ball no matter what. All right. He's not a malcontent when he's not getting the ball. There are entire games where we win and Brandon Ayuk is completely erased from the game plan and mum's the word. The only time we see Brandon Ayuk is when he's cheering Christian McCaffrey from having a record day or blocking downfield for a Debo Samuel. So I just feel like there's so much that he brings on top of the fact that he's a leader, right? He's also known as the mentor-mentee relationship. His mentor-mentee relationship with Diamador Lenore is widely documented. So for me, I just feel like trading him is not just trading a player. I think that you'll be literally moving a cinder block outside of everything.
Why don't you block EH for me, Larry?
Who?
Oh, EH. I love him. I love EH. Yeah.
Do you?
So we know exactly who
he's
EH
funny.
is.
He thinks he's funny. He thinks he's funny, but he's about to get blocked by his favorite content creator. That's the funny part.
I'm gonna tell you what EH did. This is what it is.
Ban user.
Yeah, EH is a troll, right? And he likes to go around and sexually harass people online. He's like the scum of the chat. And a lot of people don't know about this clown, but people need to know exactly who he is. Like, he's not here for fandom. He's not here to talk about takes. He's not here to like go at me about Tannehill or go at you about Brock Purdy or go at Jesse about Brock Purdy or, you know, the things that we do. What he likes to do is he likes to go at you personally and say sexual innuendo about the people that you love. He's a disgusting guy. And the people in the chat wouldn't want to have anything to do with him.
He's literally been here every week talking about how he wants to sleep with my wife. So we can talk about cancel culture. Cancel culture, I would wreck his face if we were face to face.
Yeah, this is about football,
That's
dog.
not about that, bro.
Yeah.
So
that's his problem.
Anyway,
like,
he's been blocked twice.
Loser.
Yeah.
So I just blocked him twice. I don't know if that helps. Because I blocked him once, and then his comments still showed up.
He got upset. He got upset because I actually called him out about it. I said, dude, you got to stop with the.
Let me just say this to the chat. We don't need you. And I know that sounds awful, but we don't need you. I don't need your donations. Jesse doesn't need your donations. Coach doesn't need your donations. We can do this show without you. You're privy to this, but you got to behave. And if you don't, you're gone. And if you get racial and you get crazy and you're making crazy statements about Jesse's wife, you're gone.
Yeah, right? Like, nobody deserves to put up with any of that over football, bro. It's just, you know what I mean? Yeah, like, that's crazy.
We don't have to endure you.
And listen, that's the thing. I'm fine. Say whatever you want, but just make sure that you're willing to say it to my face. If you like, that's where I'm at with it. Like, people think it's a game. Listen, man, it's not a game. Say it. You got shots. I tell you where I'm at. I tell you when I'm at games. If you got something to say, then say it. That's what it is.
None of us are sensitive about our football takes.
It's not.
You can
listen. Don't talk about my family. Don't talk about my kids. Don't talk about my wife. That's a quick way. That's a quick way to get out of here. You know
what's crazy is that this is an inclusive space, but this is a man space. Over 90% of the demographic of the people in here are men. So when you see dudes in here saying the stuff that they say in the chat, we know that if there was a room full of men and another man said that to my face or anybody's face, they would clear a space and let us handle it. So don't do that. Don't do that. Come on, man. Keep it football.
And it's real easy for us. I mean, Brother Bob saying, is this on Larry's channel? It's on all of our channels tonight. But it's real easy for us to just say, hey, you know what? Get the hell out of here. I don't want it. No. And I don't care if you're pro me, pro coach, anti me, pro Jesse. I don't care. I don't care. If you cross the line, I'd block Kev if he crossed the line. I'd block anybody. So I really don't care. I know these guys don't as well. We're friends, and that's why we're streaming together, and we're doing this, and hopefully you guys are
we're not giving him what he wants. Yeah, but what it is that
lines, man.
When you cross lines and you keep pecking,
bro, it's been like 8 weeks of it, and I haven't said
it's been like 2 months. You got to expose it. It's like, dude, we've been looking at this for 2 months. You got to relax. Come on.
Yep.
Seriously. I mean, people disagree with me all the time. We just endure, but we're not going to endure racist crap. We're not going to endure personal stuff about our families. Come on. And Jesse's right. That's the same. His barometer is my barometer. If I feel like you'd say it to my face, and there's some bad hombres out there that would say all kinds of stuff, but for the most part, you know what? if I don't think you would say that to my face, you're blocked. So whatever.
Well, and that's the thing. Football stuff, dude, say whatever you want about my takes. I'll never ever get sensitive to that ever.
Right.
But don't talk about my family. Don't ever. I dare you don't talk about my family. Trust in that. All right. Smack Jones says, I liked all 3 channels. Coach, when can I send you super chats? We need to
March
get
17th.
to DC specifically. We
St.
need
Patty's
to get
Day?
to DC ASAP. Oh, is it?
Yeah, St. Patty's Day, March 17th.
Yeah,
There
let's
you
do
go.
it, man. We're gonna have a St. Patty's Day stream. Get this bullshit together.
We need to get to DC ASAP. What draft prospects y'all want in the first round in a sleeper? Ooh.
You know how I got. You know my guy,
Who do you want in the first
What
round?
do you want?
Amarius Mims.
You know, I just did a video on this that's going out. It's either out or it's going out on my channel on the next day. I went through and did a whole deep dive today on the first round of the, who's going to be there, 31, everything. And I basically decided, guys, that the Niners are not going to draft. They're not going to draft a quarterback, a running back, a tight end, a safety, a kicker, a punter, a center, a guard, or a long snapper. That it's likely to be a wide receiver, a defensive tackle, a defensive end, an offensive tackle, a cornerback, and maybe an outside chance at a linebacker. And then when I went through and did the deep dive, I took defensive end off the board too, because I don't think the Missouri kid Darius Robinson's going to be there, and I don't see anybody else. So to me, it's going to be a wide receiver, a defensive tackle, an offensive tackle, or a corner. And we could go through the guys.
I want Jordan Morgan. That's who I want. That's who I've been mocking for the last week.
Agrees with you. Matt Miller does.
Because if you look at the tackle, first of all, I want to tackle, but if you look at the tackles that are going to go around that time frame, a lot of them they could be guards when you get to the NFL. They may not necessarily be tackles. So right. He's a true tackle. I think he can play left or right, and I think it would be great for him to start out at right tackle and then move left eventually. He actually tore his ACL, I think, 2 seasons ago. Otherwise, he would have been already drafted. He's really, really good, I think. Very good player.
I like Amarius Mims quite a bit, too. 5-star high school recruit. He's kind of a raw player, but he's only got 8 career starts.
That's what I'm saying.
He is 21, and there's some durability questions. But
there is Fuaga, I feel like he's a pipe dream, but
he'll be gone. Yeah, he'll be gone.
He's a pipe dream. So Fuaga, in my opinion, is the best tackle in the draft. Like, he reminds me of Penei Sewell, so quite honestly. But just he's a little bigger to be on. I love Fuaga, but really, I'm just being realistic. And I feel like Amarius Mims is somebody that can grow into that right tackle spot. He's got tons of athleticism. He's strong as hell, especially at the second level. And also, he could be a guy that could be a swing tackle. I mean, once Trent leaves, he could get kicked over to the left side. So that's why I like him.
If we were wagering on this, like if we had to bet on, all of our money on like one player the Niners would pick, I think I'd probably wager on Tyler Guyton, the Oklahoma right tackle, if you watch him on his film, he wears number 60, 6'7", 325, nasty run blocker. He was a defensive tackle in high school, which I love. I love that defensive tackle conversion. Started at TCU, transferred to OU. And another guy who's kind of inexperienced, hasn't played a ton. He's played right tackle more than left tackle. But I was talking to Trent Williams in the locker room, and Trent is a unique guy because Trent, not only is he a great player, Hall of Fame player, but he's a great athlete, right? Trent can play. I mean, Trent literally, if you watch him shoot baskets in the locker room, the guy makes like 70% from 3 or whatever. I mean, he's a crazy athlete. But I started talking to him about Guyton a few weeks ago, just kind of messing around, and he watched him, and after the conversation, I'm like, dude, you literally know all about this guy. And he's like, oh yeah, I study all these guys. So I think Guyton would be nice. I think he would be great as like maybe a future left tackle, but maybe he could be a plug and play right tackle. And I know Trent knows him and would love to kind of tutor him. I love him. He's a road grader who's nasty in the run game and plays kind of to and through the whistle. Mims, though, I agree with Coach in that, like, if you watch Mims, the film is crazy. I mean, you're talking about who's the guy the Steelers just drafted? Remember the guy from Georgia? Yeah, this year.
Oh, yeah.
Broderick something.
Yeah, Broderick Jones. Broderick Jones.
This guy is a better version of Broderick Jones as far as he's one of these guys that he's got the exact build you'd want. Like if you could draw up a perfect offensive tackle, it would look like Amarius Mims.
He reminds me of
330, and he's lean, long arms. But I will say this: if we're gonna go ahead, Coach, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I wanted you to keep going. He reminds me of how Tyron Smith looked when he was at USC. Remember when Tyron Smith, when he was at USC, it was like he already had his NFL body as a freshman. Like he just needed to gain weight. That was literally it. I feel the same way about Amarius Mims, man. Like his body is, and Larry, that half the battle is just God-given talent in the trenches. Like you can't teach 6'7", 340. You know what I'm saying? And the way he moves, man, you can't teach that.
My only question with Mims would just be like, do you need him to start week 1? Because if you need him to start week 1, and then I'm always a little concerned about guys who only have like 8 or 9 career starts. It's like, are they going to play all 17 games? Are they, are they going to, do they only play when they're at optimal, body feel as far as injuries? Can they play hurt? The other guy that I really have to do more studying on, but I had a buddy of mine who scouts called me last week and say, dude, you got to take a look at the Yale tackle. And his name's like Karan Amageji.
Yeah, it's Karan. I've already watched him.
He's got 36 and 3/4-inch arms, which is maybe the longest arm length in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, 6'5".
He's smart. He's really smart. He's tough. He was a basketball player. Didn't play football until I think 8th grade, which that's a lot of guys don't play till 8th grade. But smart guy, high character. Right tackle probably to start, but maybe down the road a left tackle. He's an incredible prospect.
Yeah, he transitioned from right guard as well. So he's got a lot of that may be somebody that honestly, this may sound weird, but I wouldn't mind getting a guy like a Guyton in round 1, and if this Kieran Amagadiji, if from Yale, if he's hanging around in like round 4, grab him too.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to grab him just because every time we talk about him, it sounds like you have a speech impediment. I'm looking forward to that. Just like sparring with his name every show. I can't wait. I hope we draft that guy.
You got to see this name. It's ridiculous. But like I had to pull it up
YouTube
so I could trip over it.
You go YouTube his highlights. He wore 72 at Yale. He's a freak. He's a freak. And he's the kind of guy that if you have a good offensive line coach and you can bring him along slowly, man, like he would be a guy, like if I could get Guyton, plug him at right tackle, and then with one of my 2nd, 3rd round picks, take a guy like this kid from Yale and let Trent Williams kind of coach him up and let Forster coach him up. I mean, 2 years from now, you could have your bookend tackles, and protecting Brock Purdy with big bodied guys is, pretty much got to be number 1 on the list of things to do. The only guy that I love more is I love the Bama guy, the right tackle, like J.C. Latham. He's just a crazy, freaky.
Well, that's another one. He's not going to be
there. He's not going to be there. So that's why you'd have to trade Ayuk to get the pick to get
JC
Fuaga or Latham or Fashanu or Alt. Any of those guys, I would say Alt, Fashanu, Fuaga, Latham, and Mims, I think all go in the top 20 for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, okay. Man.
So there's some receivers that are going to be there.
How about Patrick Paul? Sorry.
You're talking about the Houston guy. I mean, he's a long arm developmental guy, and I really like him as well. But I don't think he's ready to play right away. I think there's some developmental stuff there. But yeah, I mean, 6'7", 315 pounds. I love Patrick Paul. To me, he looked really good. With the film I watched of him, he looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this, because I'm big on taking a tackle there, and I feel like, oddly enough, if certain tackles fall there, it could be BPA as well. Bam Bam says take BPA. Let's say there's a clear wide receiver, let's say, right? A position that the 49ers don't need, especially if Brandon Ayuk stays. But best player by far at 31 is a wide receiver. You're not trading out. Do you advocate just going BPA? Or do you feel like, you know what, we need a tackle, let's go tackle? There's a good enough one there. What are your thoughts, Larry? I'll ask you first.
Well, you have to get the tackle done now. I think it's, I mean, how, they had nine free runs at Brock Purdy in the Super Bowl. I mean, the 49ers lost the Super Bowl because they couldn't protect in some key downs. And so, I mean, they tried to I love Colt McKivitz, great dude, 5th round pick. And Spencer Burford, really smart guy, 4th round pick. The blue chip tackles in the NFL go in the top 20 picks. And you can try to, do it another way, but I would definitely go tackle over wide receiver. But I'll say this, the more I watch of the LSU kid, Brian Thomas, the more I think, you know what? I don't know if I can pass on him. I don't know if I can pass on Brian Thomas. I mean, he really came into his own this year. He led the FBS with 17 receiving touchdowns. He had over 1,200 yards on a team that had Malik Neighbors, who's a really good player. The guy is amazing. He was a former basketball player, and he's like in the red zone. He like boxes out and knows how to use his body. He's a blocker. He can make you miss. He's got run after the catch. He's really good at the catch point. We're talking about a fluid athlete with length and speed. We're talking about 205 pounds on a 6'4" frame, and he moves like a 6-foot guy. I mean, Brian Thomas is really, really special. Now, I don't think he'll be there. I think he'll probably get picked in the teens. But if you're sitting there and Brian Thomas is there, it kind of depends on how many tackles have been taken. I think there's a very good chance there's going to be, a bunch of tackles taken in the first round. And if there's a run on tackles, I like Brian Thomas a lot. I'd have a hard time passing on him.
I agree with Larry, honestly, because for me, tackles stop becoming worth it after 5. Like he brought up, like Larry brought up, Fashanu, Alt, Fuaga, Latham, and Mims. If there's anything past that, that's still available at. Go ahead.
Oh, I disagree. I mean, I really like the Arizona kid a lot.
Jordan Morgan. You would take
yeah.
Jordan Morgan at 31?
Oh, easily. Yeah. He's my favorite. He's my favorite out of those guys, probably 3 through 7 or whatever. He's my favorite.
Okay. All right. Well, I can take that. I don't think that Jordan Morgan or Tyler Guyton is worth a pick at 31.
Okay.
I think that taking a tackle at 31, they would have to be somebody that dropped, somebody that actually, there is a difference between the top 5 tackles and the bottom 5 tackles in the 10 of the, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't seem like there's a lot. It may not seem like there's a lot, but for me, I just feel like in a way, Jordan Morgan being 6'4" with a 5'3" at a 5'3" 40, I feel like he's got a low ceiling. I feel like you're seeing the best of him right now.
He's also got short arms. I mean, that's the one thing about Morgan, that if you look at his like spider chart, the arm, he's like 18th percentile in arm length.
Yeah. And
arm
that's
length is a
something
big
that
deal
the
for the
49ers,
Niners.
the 49ers covet arm length in offensive linemen.
But he's a good player, though. I mean,
he is like, hold on,
yeah.
Let me calm down. If it seems like I'm like dumping on the kid, he's an amazing player, right? And him getting picked in the first round is not a stretch. Let me say that. That would not be a stretch. But for me and mine, for us, I want to be able to get a plus player at the position. And it's hard to find plus players that you want to play right away at 31, right? That's my problem. Where picking him up at 31 would mean that he's playing right away. He's our guy. He's our first round pick. There's no like rounding out position where he has to warm up. And I just think that with him there, he has the potential in 2 years, if he struggles, for us to be looking at him to get kicked in the guard, right? In my opinion, like if he struggles, I can hear us right now. Well, maybe if we put him at guard and try to get somebody else, it's just like if you want to tackle, go get the tackle. You know what I'm saying? Like I like Larry's caveat to Brian Thomas because that's a plus athlete at the position. If Brian Thomas is there for us at 31, right? If we get Brian Thomas, I have no qualms about him starting day one, right? So, from my opinion, I just feel like we should just get the bang for our buck at the position we need at 31. And, I just don't think Jordan Morgan is a turnkey player.
Okay. I disagree, but maybe we'll watch some film together and you can tell me why you see it
Yeah.
the way that you see it.
Well, I'll say this about Morgan. The one thing about Morgan, sorry to interrupt, but one thing about Morgan, he is like an all-time great guy. If you heard their head coach talk about him earlier this year, I saw a video where Arizona's head coach was just absolutely, loving this kid. I mean, this is a special kid. We're talking about a guy who, volunteers at football camps, works with the Boys and Girls Club, great academic achiever, great, community guy. Jed Fish said he was a very, very special player earlier this year. He's a role model. Guys follow him. I mean, those things do matter as well. And I'd have to see him work out, but I'm a little concerned about the arm length. I mean, that's kind of one of the problems that Colton McKivitz has, is that he's got kind of shorter arms. So
especially
I don't know.
His height.
I just look at the way the Niners, look at that kid they got as an undrafted free agent this year. And then they basically let him go to Arizona, and then they re-signed him, and they never really gave him any run at tackle, despite the fact he had played really well at tackle. And it's because he has 32 and a half inch arms.
The kid out of Shepherd.
What was his name? They lost him late in the year to, I think, Carolina or somebody else.
Tackle kid out of Shepherd.
He was a tackle, but he was a guard for the Niners, really. They never gave him any run at tackle, but he played some tackle in the preseason. And he looked really good.
Fisher.
Fisher. Joey
not
Fisher.
No, not that kid. I'm talking about the guy from University.
Oh, the black kid.
Ilm
Manning.
Ilm Manning.
Yeah. Ilm Manning.
And
they wouldn't give him any run at tackle because he had his arm length. So I know arm length is kind of a big deal to them.
All right. Brother Bob says, Nails, coach, love you too. Now that other guy, he did come in and say, hey, Larry, just so you know, I would never get personal with you. So he was calling it truce after that. Brianna says, do any of you three envision working for the national media? Well, I mean, Larry, radio, he's been on national media shows and stuff like that. So, I mean, Larry kind of has, but
is this the great Brianna? Brianna McDonald is a young lady that I worked with this year who works for the Niners. And Brianna, if this is you, I hope you're having a great beginning to your off season. And her and Lindsay put out a lot of great content on 49ers.com. So Brianna, if that's you, hope you're having a great night. But yeah, working in the national media, I'm pretty happy doing what I'm doing right now. Actually, I don't know how you guys feel, but I do love covering the NFL on a kind of a national platform. I mean, I feel like I'm conversant on other teams in the league besides the Niners, but I do my passion definitely is much more for the Niners than it is to talk about Green Bay or something like that. But So I'm kind of happy talking Niners on a local angle.
I like to talk I mean, I just love football. I mean, I I love the Niners, and if I'm going to talk about a team, it's going to be the Niners, but I do prefer to talk all NFL. I mean, I think that I don't know, it's just fun. And it's hard, and you get a better vision of players on your team when you can compare it to something around the league. So for me, I prefer to talk all NFL, but that being said, it's interesting because as a kid, you guys saw this wave too when you guys were younger, but it was the whole ESPN thing, and it was Sports Center. You grew up watching Sports Center, and that was kind of like the
You literally saw it
introduction.
happen.
And for me, that's what I always thought I wanted to do. But as I got older, I realized there's a difference. Those guys were delivering news. They weren't necessarily talking and giving opinions on things. I just prefer to opine, and owning 100% of my own platform, even if it's smaller. I enjoy that. I really do. I don't know that I would want to work for anybody else unless the money was just stupid bonkers and I didn't have to travel. But for me, I'd rather own 100% of my small niche channel, and enjoy the folks that are here regularly. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the theme of all of us here in the content creator space is we pretty much all have ownership of our not only our platform but our lives and how we handle our business. I kind of like the tempo of how we talk about the Niners. We're able to keep it casual, but at the same time give a professional angle and still reach the fans the same way the Niners do. I would almost argue that we reach the fans on a more granular level than the Niners do. Um, and it keeps us exactly where we need to be, which is the pulse of the supporters and the fans. And I feel like just operating from a national tilt can kind of make you a little tone deaf. And there can be blind spots that can arise over time. So I always like operating from this trajectory because the accountability and the feedback is like lightning fast. You know what I mean? Like we literally just had a conversation today with fans. Like, so, one thing that I like, and I feel like it would be hard to do that from somebody else's trajectory because when you work for a national media outlet, you pretty much lose your originality as far as how you feel about takes and the human side of getting a mulligan and knowing that the fans are going to understand, like, yeah, I know, coach. You know what I'm saying? He said Ryan Tannehill, you know what I'm saying, that week, whatever. And you know what I mean? Like, but on a national scale, if I'd have put that take out, who knows what the ramifications of that would have been. You know what I mean? So I just like to keep it kind of local.
I'll tell you the one thing though that is intriguing to me is the idea of like some of the best interviews that I get in the locker room or when I go up to somebody and be like, "Hey man, where are you from? Tell me a little bit about yourself." And there's so many everybody flocks to like five guys in the Niner locker room, and I like going up to, I don't know, Drake Jackson and tell me a little bit about your story, or even like, I was walking through the locker room late in the year, and Ben Barch was like, "What's up, Krug?" And I didn't even know he knew me. And we got into a great conversation, and he's watched the YouTube channel before. And it's like, I don't know, to me, it's like, I love the relatability of just talking to the players and learning their stories. And I think I could enjoy that, bringing those stories out on a national scale. But I wouldn't want somebody to tell me like, I want you to talk to this guy and ask this. I like to be my own editor, my own author kind of a thing. And the other thing is like, my kid plays varsity baseball right now. I love the fact that I can schedule my streams and my anything I do on my channel around that. So I'm like a season ticket holder for Northgate High School baseball. You know what? Your kids, once you have kids, and I don't know if everybody does, but it's like they do grow up fast, man. And Jesse's got little kids. My kids are more in that, my youngest is like freshman in high school, and my oldest is in grad school. And dude, it goes by so freaking fast. And I know it sounds kind of hokey to say that, but these are the people you love the most in life. And it's like, that's the greatest thing that I love about doing what I'm doing now is I can do every great thing that my kids have going on. I can schedule it pretty much around my work. So that's what I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
ultimately that's what's dope about all of this is that it does humble you because we know that we're privileged, right? Like we get to wake up and worry about a sports team. Like these are first world problems. You know what I mean? And when you kind of start adding all of these other peripheral obligations into your zeitgeist of what you're trying to get done, things can get muddied, right? So it's like I love the fact that we have the wins and the successes that we all have, and that we talk to each other on a daily basis, and the great things that we're doing. But it's 100% ownership. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, when I am proud of Larry or what he's doing with his platform, it's like it's Larry. It's not his boss or some subsidiary. You know what I mean? And the same thing with Jesse. So it's dope.
I agree with that. And we definitely do. We definitely talk a lot about it and run ideas off each other. It's a lot of fun. And it is good. It's nice to know that you're talking with the person behind it all. And there's also a camaraderie there between local content creators. If it's done right, in my opinion, there is, because we all know the grind. We all know that, you're producing your own show, you're coming up with your own topics, you're running the chat while also trying to listen to your guests and come up with your own opinions and making your overlays and your thumbnails and everything. So
My thumbnails got better,
it's
y'all.
a lot of fun. Yeah. So listen, we enjoy it. I think the theme is we all enjoy it. Brendan Green says, "Can we draft a fullback and move off of an expensive Juice?" Well, they got what's his name from what was it, Oregon State last year?
And they lost him to the Steelers. Yeah, Jack Coletto.
Right.
Jack Coletto's
Yeah.
to Pittsburgh got picked up by
Gone,
Pittsburgh.
right.
Yeah. And Jack's he's a great guy. And I had him on the show. I mean, he wanted to stay here. Juice told me he was the smartest football player he had ever encountered in his entire NFL career. This guy was a mechanical engineering major. And it's interesting though. It's like I'm looking at the draft and studying all these different prospects, and I don't see a lot of fullbacks prospects. I mean, there's a lot of guys. There's undersized guys. I mean, there's a Missouri kid named Cody Schrader who I think could maybe bulk up a little bit and be a really good fullback, but he's like 210 pounds or 215 pounds. So it's you might even look for shorter tight ends at this point that you feel like can transition to playing running back in some way. But it's hard. It's in some ways it's very difficult to find running backs that can play fullback. Like I kind of like John Emery, the LSU kid who's about 225 pounds. And I kind of think he could be a nice fullback. And there's a couple other guys like that, but they're not everywhere. Like Noah Fant, who's a tight end, right? The Iowa tight end who's went to Seattle and Denver, and he's a free agent this offseason. I look at Noah Fant as maybe instead of a shortish tight end, maybe he could be a fullback. Maybe he could be like a backup tight end / fullback. The Niners, when Juice goes down, they usually put Dwelly at fullback. So
I actually thought Braden Willis could possibly be that guy when they drafted him, but
I
don't
agree.
necessarily know that now, but maybe. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, they may not even move off of him. I know we've talked a lot about possibly moving on from Juice, but he's probably going to be here. And Larry doesn't think so, so maybe not. I don't know. Says that's
it's going to be up to him.
ish.
It's going to be up to Juice. That's really it. I mean, we could talk all day and all night about the Niners' choices, but it's really going to come down to Juszczyk and
pay cut.
Yeah, many of these players themselves will decide what they're going to do. I mean, Juszczyk's a vital part of the Niner offense. He's 33 in April. He's scheduled to earn $6.25 million. That's
a lot of money.
None of the money's guaranteed. So cutting him would save, they're saying, about $4.9 million against the cap. So they're going to go to him and they're going to ask him to rework his deal. And if he's willing to do it, he'll be around. And if he's not willing to do it, he'll be cut. And that's probably the way it's going to go.
There you go. Yaz says that's dirtbag-ish. I'm assuming he's talking about what happened earlier. Appreciate that.
Mhm.
Green Glassful says, thanks for the input, fellas. Go Niners. That's probably the nicest thing you've ever said in a stream that includes me, and I appreciate it. Green Glassful. Thank you. B. Cruisin says, will they revive the Revenge Tour 2.0, the Run It Back edition? 2.0. I feel like we're on like edition 6 of this thing. I don't know. This feels like a like a Freddy Krueger movie. Actually, this feels like Fast and the Furious. There's like 10 of those, right? Fast
One
and
more
Furious.
ride.
Well, yeah, just one
Well,
more. Vin
I don't
Diesel's 90.
I don't want to see him run it back. In fact, somebody asked me about this the other day. So, is it a run it back deal? I don't want to see them run it back because run it back assumes that you no longer need foundation piece additions, that you're told that all you need is a little tinkering here and there. And I don't agree with that. I think the 49ers can, of course, they're going to run it back in that they're going to play next year when they're going to try to go to the Super Bowl. But I don't think they're in a pure run it back mode. I think they know that they need foundation altering players that aren't in their locker room now. And so I think this is a big offseason for them, both in free agency and the draft. And I think they need a little bit more than tinkering, guys, to get over.
I don't.
I think
listen,
as fans, we've been running. Go ahead, Jess.
I was going to say, I don't disagree with that, Larry. But when you look at the way that these salary caps are laid out and these salaries are laid out for these players, I just think you're going to get slight tinkering. That's what the salary cap and what these players are being paid. And because they've kicked the can down the road on Armstead and Kittle and some of these other guys, that's what you're going to get. I mean, the main cast of characters is going to be the main cast of characters, and they can get better through the draft a little bit, offensive line, what have you, but there's not going to be a lot of wholesale changes. Now, after this next year, this team is going to look drastically different. I believe that, but I don't know, man. Unless they're willing to take big cap hits for draft picks and try to kind of retool / rebuild on the fly, it's not going to look that much different. I don't believe so.
Well, but Jesse, all I would say to counter that is the Niners defense is all predicated by what they do up front. Chase Young, Clelin Ferrell, Kevin Givens, Javon Kinlaw, Randy Gregory, Sebastian Joseph Day. They got 6 free agents on their defensive line. They only really have 6 guys that are coming back. You got Bosa, Armstead, Hargrave, Drake, Beal, and maybe Kalia. I think they're gonna. I don't necessarily think all those guys are going to be re-signed. I think that defensive line is going to be reshaped and look significantly different. So for me, that's just kind of that's not running it back. Running it back would be like if you re-signed all those guys.
That's fair.
I
guess when I look
all
at
those
it,
guys are leaving.
Stars. I'm looking at the stars, right? The main guys on this team. Those guys aren't changing. So
yeah, but
that's
also
fair.
The main guys on that team are kind of like the front running names that we know, but let's be honest. Like, I feel like we've been watching this thing in a sense because we have not won, but in a sense, we're fans. So we've been a part of this regime, aka like our mini dynasty or whatever. And we all know that all teams are not made the same. They do have the same players as far as the number one guys that we have, but at the same time, the depth is different. I don't think that the same depth that we had in 2019 and 2022 is exactly what we went into 23 with. If you look at our team outside of 2020, where that was the year that we basically had tons of injuries, and then 17 and 18 notwithstanding, those are our building years. I think that this team coming into this year is pretty much the most depleted team that we're going to be facing. And if you think about it, before the pandemic hit, we were already talking about this. In 2019, what were we talking about? Man, what are we going to do to start signing these guys? How are we going to sign Fred Warner? What are we going to do to sign George Kittle? So I'm going to tell you right now, it does look like that we're going to have to shape up. We're going to have to shape up on the defensive line. We're going to have to get our depth together. And I do feel like it is something that as fans, we are a little sheepish about bringing up because we want to just keep grinding at the bit of, we're back in the Super Bowl. Let's not let it go. It's just like, dude, the 3 R's, man. We gotta recover, regroup, and respond. Like, this one was a tough one, right? And in the past 3 years, Them boys have played 60 games. All right. And on top of it, we're human. We gotta respond from the Trey Lance debacle. Yes, you heard me say it. Debacle. We spit all those picks, all right, and it killed us. We finally we used to be almost, if you think about it, we used to be the Detroit Lions in the ilk of young, hungry, fast, and physical. That used to be us. Now we're the oldest team in the league and we're top heavy. All right. And these boys are getting paid their biggest money ever. And we got to get younger. Those are the facts. We got to get younger. We got to get faster. And I'm going to tell you this right now. One thing that's emblematic of our team needing to rebuild is the number one issue that was persistent throughout the season was what? Effort, rest. You know what I'm saying? The boys playing hard for 60 minutes. We already seen them. They came out like gangbusters for 5 weeks, went 5-0. And what happened? They got tired. They got tired and lost 3 in a row. They needed that bye. And then they came back and looked fresh, rejuvenated, and stomped out the Jaguars. And what happened? As we started getting further out into the season, 6 weeks, 7 weeks out, Baltimore came. We got kicked in the teeth, and we weren't the same team since. We weren't. Even much so that we got 22 days off and then faced the Packers, and we're milquetoast. Average. That's an old team, man. They mean well, all right? But they're getting older before our eyes, and we got to get younger.
They have 20 free agents. I've looked at the list. My guess is they re-signed 5.
Yeah. That should let you know what's
20
on our team this long. That should let you know. The fact that, like, there was a time where if we had that many free agents, there will be a mad scramble to keep everybody, right? And pay attention. Another thing about us that we know is another thing that shows that we have good depth is that we can't keep depth pieces because they turn into actual packages on other teams. Let's see how many of the guys that played for us this year are still on the heap near the end of free agency and nobody wants them. I would guess a lot of them.
TVU says, Coach, March 17th, we're going to send all the overdue supers. There you go. I like it. Look them up. Kit says, if they have no choice but to trade Ayuk, what do they need to get for him so it's not a total disaster? Which wide receiver, first round prospect? Well, that's great. That's a great transition because that was one of the topics. And at this pace, we weren't going to get to any other ones. So I'll use your super chat to parlay us into that conversation. What would it have to be for Ayuk? Let's say there's just no reconciling. We all agree, by the way, that Ayuk's not going to get traded. I think we agree there. But if he were to get traded,
I don't agree with that. I think there's a chance he does.
No, I like this. I'm not saying no chance, but if I was,
I don't want it. I think we're all in agreement, Jesse, that none of us want to trade.
Okay, all right, let's go that route.
But I think there's a chance he gets traded.
You think? Yeah,
I think there's a chance.
I'm with Larry's thinking. I don't want it, but I wouldn't be shocked.
Okay. Hold on a second though. Like when you say there's a chance, are we talking about like Dumb and Dumber 1 in a million chance, or are we saying like 40%, 30%? What's a chance?
I would say 30-70 right now.
I'll say a little less than that, but let's not be ridiculous about this. Devontae
He's
Adams,
the most tradable asset.
Devontae Adams was a great receiver for Green Bay. They traded him. Tyreek Hill was a great receiver.
Different, Larry.
Okay, but Tyreek Hill was a great receiver for Kansas City. They traded him. A.J. Brown was a great wide receiver for Tennessee. They traded him. All those guys asked to be traded and got their wish. And then you look at, I don't know if you saw the headline today, but Justin Jefferson wants to reset the wide receiver market. And that's part of the problem here with Ayuk is I think Ayuk and his agent would love to see, where this market gets reset at, and it's going to get reset at a huge number. And Jefferson's unsigned, CeeDee Lamb's unsigned, Pittman Jr. from Indianapolis is unsigned, Higgins is unsigned. If Jefferson resets the market at a crazy level, and you've got Ayuk as an all-pro, there's a very good chance that what he wants is going to price him out of your structure. And then the 49ers are going to have to make a tough decision. And then it also is also predicated on who's really in love with him and what are they offering. So we can get into that now. But I mean, I wouldn't give him away. And I wouldn't look to trade him. I'd rather see him sign. But I think the Niners are thinking, and Parag's thinking, we need a reasonable extension. And, and they would love to re-sign him, guys, because that's one of the best ways for the Niners to actually get more cap room this year is to get that extension signed. They could take his cap number from 14 million, which is what it is right now, to like 4 million or 4.5 million if they redo the deal. So a big part of them kind of working the cap is extending him. But Parag, he's a tough negotiator, and he's going to want to get a deal on his number. And
so what's he worth realistically? Because I think as 49er fans, we do this, right? Where I think 49er fans overvalue their players. We do.
No, okay. I wouldn't be mad.
When it came to Debo, people thought he was worth 2 first-round picks, and the league said absolutely not even close to that. So that's what I mean. I understand that, but I think fans in general overvalue their players. So what do you realistically think Ayuk is worth?
Money-wise or pick-wise for a trade?
He's on like picks, right? Picks.
Yeah, for a trade. Like if you're trading him, what would you have to get to feel good about it?
Here's the problem. How are you gonna replace him? Because he's such a damn good player, and you guys know football as good as anybody. Rookie receivers don't do jack,
and Kyle hates him.
And Kyle doesn't. Kyle doesn't like it. They're not. Yep. I mean, you're also talking about Brock Purdy's number one receiver who lives going across the middle, and Brock gets by on throwing timing patterns. That takes time to build up that rapport and that understanding. You could get a player who's better than Ayuk.
No, Greg.
But he won't be better than Ayuk for probably 3 years. And if you're really in your run it back mode, and Kyle is at this point with where they're at as a team and how close they've gotten, I don't know that a rookie receiver makes sense for the Niners. So that's why this is such a tough decision.
Well, my biggest thing, my biggest thing with BA is this possible? But am I talking out of school? But what can we do with Debo? Like, are we really going to pay Debo $28 million next year?
Yes.
Are we going to do that?
Yes, you are.
Kick the can down the road. You can't kick. You can't keep kicking the can down the road on these guys. And if I was them, I definitely wouldn't do it with Debo. They have an out on his contract after the 2025 year. I would prefer they remain flexible and just eat the money, because if you kick the can down the road, now you're pushing that instead of into 2025, you're looking at the end of 2026, and you're just putting yourself in a bind. I would prefer to just let it ride.
I mean, I just feel like I just have the I feel like Brandon Ayuk is about to get Bucknered, and that's what sucks.
Traded,
yeah. Mm-hmm. He's about to get Bucknered. We're about to keep Debo over BA, and we're gonna have to watch BA grow and flourish in another offense where he's used as the number one option. That's the crux of the issue. I mean, I know we can get caught up in the weeds of where does he go and what's the inevitable, but really it is kind of cleansing to just talk about the actual like truth. And what really should happen is we should be trying to move Debo. Like, BA is on the crux of becoming the receiver that we've all worked for him to be. The uptake of where he's going, like he barely scraped 1,000 yards for this season, right? For last season, barely got.
I don't even think you'd get a second round pick for Debo at this point.
He blew past that at 1,300. Brandon Ayuk he's emerging, man. He's budding. We hitched our wagon to the wrong horse.
I agree.
Yeah, this is a tough call because, I mean, Jesse just said it. I mean, what do you think Debo would fetch if there was a team that loved him?
third round pick, probably.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Maybe
that's the problem. It's like
You know,
we're sitting here trying to balance our books with a Rolls Royce in the driveway.
Right.
and I love Debo. He's a tone setter, and tone setting players are rare. There aren't a lot of Debos out there, though. I do love this kid Malachi Corley from Western Kentucky for the Hilltoppers. He's very Debo-esque. There's no question about that. But he's not Debo still. I mean, Debo, so this is the problem with the Ayuk situation is you already paid Debo and you're 32nd in the NFL in pass attempts, and now you're going to give another receiver that kind of scratch. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is a tough call. That's why I think and also you got to find out, to me, I got to find out, is Ayuk cool with running it back and just putting this off for a year, or is he going to be in just a foul mood? Is he going to be
hiding in plain sight? We don't have to do anything.
Right. They can let him sit. I mean, they don't have to do anything until after next year, and it might be in their best interest to do that. But does that mean Ayuk's not going to work out? Does that mean Ayuk's going to be an island unto himself? Does that mean, he's going to be super, negative about situations? I mean, I don't know.
Larry, let's talk about it from both sides. Does that mean that BA is going to be the fourth option on the team when he's obviously in a contract year? Does that mean that Kyle is going to honor the fact that BA is willing to give the Niners a deal? I mean, right now, let's be honest. We're Niners fans, but we have to be realistic. Brandon Ayuk has leverage. He has leverage in that he's forcing the issue now, because if we get to the fifth-year option, then he's as good as gone. It doesn't do anything for any of us, right? Because even if he does have a knockout, drag-out year, he's even more entrenched in his position to get paid. And then if he doesn't, he's going to blame us for sabotaging his free agency year, his year going into free agency. So it has to happen now.
It's a lose-lose, because if you don't use him, you're underutilizing him in his walk year. If you do use him, and he gets hurt, oh my God, you drove the guy into the ground in his walk year, and now, what if he has a serious injury?
And then for good faith, BA probably having a great year is going to be looking at the Niners like, yo, pay me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did you a solid. So it's got to happen now. The last year scenario is a loser. It's got to happen now.
Kent, thank you so much for getting us to the topic. Appreciate you. Brother Bob says Jay Morgan, offensive tackle, S. Van Prawn, offensive guard, Dorius, edge, my
the
top
Oregon
three.
Kid. Dorius is interesting. He's a 290-pound defensive end. I haven't studied tons of him, but he moves well at 290.
I do have a sneaky good fullback prospect, Trent Penix out of NC State. Senior, 6'3", 230. Kind of is a shifty guy, leaks out, good blocker. I mean, might be somebody that the Niners could kick the tires on down the road. There is another fullback. I forgot his name, but he plays for Florida State. He's pretty nasty too. I actually saw his games.
You talking about Benson, the running back, the big running back?
So, yeah, for Florida State.
Yeah, he's fast too.
Yeah, I like him at running. I like him at fullback as well.
Trey Benson is his name.
Mm-hmm.
6'1", 225 pounds. He had 14 touchdowns this year, averaged almost 6 yards a carry. But it's tough because there's a big difference between a big back and a fullback.
True.
So it's especially with what the Niners ask everybody. The fullback.
Well, hold on. I'm sorry. The guy that I'm talking about isn't Trent Benson. I'm talking about Jaheim Bell. He's 6'3", 230. Jaheim Bell. I really like that kid, but I think that he may get picked up earlier in the process. But those are my two fullback guys, Jaheim Bell and Trent Penix.
Okay. I like it. Austin says Malachi Corley, guys, is he going to be there round 3, round 4?
No.
Which is interesting because Brother Bob also brings him up. He says Cedric Gray, Malachi Corley, Estime, and Hart.
See, we don't know who the number one
mock
running
drafting
back
with us.
is. I love Cedric
Yeah.
Gray, brother Bob. Love Cedric Gray. In fact, Cedric Gray to me is the safest pick in the draft. He's going to be a phenomenal linebacker. Every time I watch Carolina this year, this guy just makes play after play. Malachi Corley, though, is interesting because he is a Deebo Samuel guy. They call him the Yak King, and he just runs over defenders. I mean, it's really something else. He's explosive. He's strong. 75% of his catches this year came within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. He's got a kind of that compact build, but the guy averaged over 9 yards per carry after contact the last 2 years at Western Kentucky. He's their all-time catch leader. He's a high character guy. He's a tough cover, and he's probably going to go in the 60s, maybe 70s. So he's around. He's probably a early round 3 guy.
What do you guys think about Bucky Irving?
I love him. You
It's
talking
like
about
a
the
scat back.
the Oregon kid?
Mhm.
Oregon
Yeah,
kid.
he's super hard to tackle. Really, really shifty. I watched Oregon against Utah, and every time they needed a first down, they went to that guy. He's nice. He's nice. He's small though. I don't know exactly what
He
his
is.
size is.
He actually needs to work on his hands, believe it or not. But if he can become a better pass catcher, I think that he could be a real weapon in the league. But he's not like your main guy. He's just, a guy.
He's an auxiliary guy.
James says, legit question, isn't Kristen Juszczyk income creasing? Seems like Juice could take a pay cut and then their household income could still increase. Well, she's probably about to make bank off of what she's doing. I don't know if that plays into Juszczyk's thing, if he's willing to take less money. Who knows? Everybody's a little bit different, but maybe it does play. The Gold Rush says, do we draft a quarterback this draft or bring back Sam Darnold? We could do both. I mean, if you bring back Sam, whoever veteran quarterback you bring in, you could still draft a guy to be on the depth chart. So
I think you say goodbye to Sam. I think you make Brandon Allen. You make Brandon Allen the number 2, and let me give you. There's a bunch of everybody's got a different thought on on the draft and whatnot, but and we haven't gotten to Steve Wilkes and the defensive coordinator, but I think there's a decent chance that that the new defensive coordinator could be Gus Bradley, and Carter Bradley, his kid, is one of the quarterbacks in the draft. He's probably going to be a day 3 pick. He played for the South Alabama Jaguars, he was in the Senior Bowl. I kind of like him. And I kind of like Gus Bradley as an option at defensive coordinator. So maybe you get the Bradley duo there.
There you go.
Carter Bradley. Okay.
Yeah, Carter Bradley. Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna call you tomorrow, Larry. We gotta geek out on draft, bro.
As you can tell, I've already freaking done it.
Kind of pissed off.
Yeah, we can do it. We'll do it.
Yeah.
Brother Bob says, didn't Peeps crap on Purdy for his physicality? I don't know what this is in reference to. That was 30 minutes ago. Our bad. Brother Bob says, I said PP and I clash, but I never talked about his fam, though. Well, very true.
Mm-hmm.
Brother Bob says, no truce, though. Just want to talk draft tonight. He's making that clear. Did you guys see that Kansas City got the punt god? Yes, I did see that they got the punt god, man. And he's special, man. He's it sounds weird to say that about a punter, but he's very special. He got himself into some legal trouble. Turns out they didn't have a case against him at all. And now he's finally getting a chance to put his career back on track. But that is a scary thing for a team that already has very good special teams. Matt Ariza has a leg on him, a absolute boot. So
didn't he average 80 yards per punt or something? Like that?
Dude, he's insane. It's literally unrealistic. He's a video game. Yes. Harrison Hightower.
He's super cocky, by the way. I've never heard a punter ever have like swag, but that guy's got swag.
Listen,
82-yard punt
like that.
82-yard punt. I mean, come on.
Harrison
he reminds
Hightower.
me of almost the swag of what was the old boy that was the punter in Oakland?
Ray Guy.
Huh?
No. You're talking about Buddy
Shane
like 10
Leckler?
years ago.
Great
Like Buddy like 10 years
guy.
ago.
Shane
Like
Leckler?
10 years ago.
No,
No.
black dude. He wore number
Yeah,
7.
I forget his
He used to
name.
wear tights all the time. He's like
Yeah,
the
he
most
looked like a
swagged out
wide
punter of
receiver,
all
but he
time.
was a punter.
Marquette King or something like that?
Yeah, King. I
Yeah.
think it was King. Yeah, yep.
He looked like a corner.
Out there
Marquette
punting.
King, yeah.
Like I have never seen a punter with a gold chain. That's crazy.
I was
Harrison
like, why
says,
got a corner punting right now?
Larry joined. Larry, I joined late, so I don't know if you addressed it. I love you, but thought what you said about Grant and his dad wasn't fair, especially his dad. When he was on, he did exactly what you do. Grant is at least real with Kyle.
Oh, you know what, Larry?
What's that?
You called out Grant in your rant yesterday.
Yeah, because here's the thing, and I love Grant.
But what did he say about his dad? Hold on a second.
He didn't say anything about his dad, though.
No, I just said that they did a stream. I didn't even hear their stream, but I got a note right before the show that they did a stream saying that they came to the conclusion that Shanahan should be fired. And I just can we have an off season where we're not saying the quarterback isn't good enough and that Shanahan, who's easily by any measuring stick a top 10 NFL head coach, doesn't need to be fired? Did they fall short? Yes. Did Shanahan make some mistakes along the way? You could argue yes. Should they fire him? No. And to me, it's nauseating that we can never have a Niner highbrow discussion about the future without firing one of the NFL's best 5 or 6 or 7 head coaches. And so that's all I was saying. It was never personal. My God. And I said it later in the stream. No, I wouldn't even be here. I wouldn't even have a channel if Grant Cohn didn't take the time to sit down with me and say, yeah, you got fired on the radio, but, I think you're pretty damn good. And I think you could have success on YouTube. And Larry, this is how I'm doing it, and this is how I'm having success, and this is how I think you ought to do it, and I think you would have success. And I got nothing but love for Grant and Lowell. And that was, and that's the extent of all I said about those guys. It wasn't like it was anything personal. It was just like, I just can't listen anymore to the Brock ain't good enough crowd or the Shanahan sucks crowd, because Brock is good enough and Shanahan doesn't suck. So that's kind of where I was coming from. And
now let me ask you this.
Don't make it seem like it was some personal attack on those guys. It wasn't. I called out Dave too. I called him chart guy or whatever. I was on one last night. I mean, I'll fully admit it. And I'm a big mouth know-it-all, and I love it. And I say things that offend people. And I apologize. And if Grant were sitting here, what I just said, I would say again. So that's where I'm at.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. This is a family discussion held out in the open, and this is 49ers business, right? So look, I know Grant is going to approach you about this shit because Grant does not shy away from anything.
That's great. I'd love to have a
you know what I'm saying? So the fact that you said that you face the teammates and you're the only guy that does it, I know Grant is going to take exception with that. I know he's going to take exception.
No, he's not.
All right.
I don't think he's going to take exception to that because he knows it's true. And I'm not saying I'm special or anything. I'm just saying I will go up to Ray McLeod fumbled against Dallas. I went up to him the next week and said, "Hey, Ray, you fumbled. Can we go through the mentality of what you were going through?" That's all I'm saying. I'm saying is I don't have sacred cows. I don't cover anybody's ass. I'm nobody's boy. I'm not like, "Hey, I'm covering you because we're tight." And I feel like I ask tough questions. Now, I admire Grant the same way I admire a guy like Kawakami, because those guys go after it. But I wasn't really speaking directly. It came across like it was like I was speaking only to him, but I'm really more disgusted with just the notion that I'm like anybody's suck up when nobody's asking tougher questions. That's it.
I fuck with you, Larry. This shit. Cause you know why, dog? Because it's okay to have arguments, man. It's okay to ruffle the feathers. Like Jesse.
We've argued.
Jesse, how many? Come on, dog. I've been on the phone. Jesse, how many times? Me and you were arguing today on the phone.
We argue every single day. What are you talking about? Literally every day.
Every day, dog. Like Larry, how many times do me and you go at it after the show where I'm like, you know what? Today was a good show, but fuck you, dog. You shouldn't have brought that shit up. I was not prepared. You know, you brought that shit up out of nowhere. What the fuck? Bro, I'm just telling you, it happens. And, you know, I like having this type of energy because it outs all of like the snowflakes. It outs all of the people that can't have this conversation. You know what I'm saying?
And also, here's the other thing. People in the chat are always like, I'm going to throw some comment in the chat, and it's going to throw a wrench in everything. No, it's not.
It's not.
Why? Because Coach and I were straight. Jesse and I were straight. Me and Grant were straight. I talk to him all the time. I told him, I said, bro, this is a volatile topic. We're not always going to agree. At the end of the day, I will always, tell you exactly what I said. I won't throw you under the bus. Please don't throw me under the bus, and so on and so forth. I don't view yesterday as throwing anybody under the bus. I really don't.
I mean, you said this shit on camera.
I did, and it's all there. But you know what? I that's how I feel, and that's how I feel, and I don't feel differently today. So
nah, man, stand on that shit, man. It would have been weak if you did stand on that shit.
I mean, Grant, you're not going to be able to just get in here, wedge some comment, and then suddenly, I hate Grant, Grant hates me, and we never stream together again. We're good. We're good.
Yeah,
I think that's the other thing too.
And if we're not good,
he did, Albert. He did.
He'll have to tell me, because as far as I'm concerned, we're good.
I think that's the other thing too. A lot of people really give Grant a lot of ish, but anybody who's worked with Grant will tell you they owe a lot to Grant. And Larry just said it himself. And Larry's got a giant channel, a giant platform, and was great in the radio, but YouTube is different. And even Larry's helped other people that don't like Grant. I won't say any names. But in a roundabout way, they kind of owe a little bit of homage to Grant too. But they talk a lot about Grant. You know what I mean?
Bruh, look,
let's be honest.
The truth is that Grant, this is the truth. This is the ugly truth. The ugly truth is that while Grant gets a lot of like Niners trajectory hate, the fact of the matter is that in real life, he has helped all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Every last one of us. That's why it's hilarious when we see the lines being drawn by content. I'm not talking about Larry, but I'm talking about across the content sphere. That's why it is so funny to see the people that literally make innuendo towards Grant or say the things that they want to. And we know for a fact that those people are on the phone asking for help, asking for guidance. There are other people whose entire platform is predicated on disagreeing with Grant. That's their entire existence, is everything Grant does, I'm going to make some type of content, innuendo, tweet, or post that eats off of it. So you got to understand how the sausage is made to understand just how funny it is sometimes when people try to split the content creators up from a front-facing view. And also, one last thing, be weary of the content creator who tries to shut down the debate. It's okay to have your take. It's okay to have your opinion. But it's not okay to say that what you have to say is more important than everybody else. That's a telltale sign that you're dealing with a fraud.
And I get it. I don't know if you guys get it with me, but I get it all the time with Grant. Krug, I love you. I've followed you since 1995 on the radio. I digest everything you say, and I'm leaving, and I'm never coming back if you continue to stream with Grant. And then I usually say to them, "Hey, man, I hear you, but goodbye." I mean, it's just, I'm making the call. Okay. I'm in charge, not you. And I love that you're here, and please support my channel, but I'm the one who knows the guy. I'm the one who deals with the guy. If you don't want to watch, don't watch. And I'm not saying it with my chest puffed out. I'm just saying, you know what? I'm the big dog up in here, not you.
I'll give you the dirty little secret too. A lot of people big dick you on subs. Oh, look at how many subs I got. Subs don't pay you. Views do.
Views
So it
pay
doesn't matter how many subs you have. There are channels, not even necessarily in the Niner side of things, but have 10,000 subs and get hundreds of thousands of views on their videos. Subs don't pay you, man. They don't. Like, that's not how these guys that do it full time, they don't get paid on their subs. There are channels around here that have small subs but do big numbers. So don't fall for the sub game. That's not nobody cares. Nobody looks at their subs, bro. Like, nobody real now. What people will celebrate subs, like, oh, look at all the subs I got. For some reason, that's what's celebrated, but subs don't pay you anything. Josh Dowling says, first day back, guys. Needed a break, but I'm back and I'm ready to move on and ready to hear your takes. Cannot wait for free agency and the draft. You know what's interesting about free agency and draft? Speculation wise, it doesn't. Speculation runs more rampant over the next 2 months than it will all year long, because we're all making guesses, educated guesses, but guesses on who they're going to sign, who they're going to bring back, who they're going to draft. And it's fun. It's like the one time a year where it's socially acceptable to just fly by the seat of your pants and make educated guesses as much as you can. So I enjoy it. Josh says, I'm behind. Sorry you deal with BS like that. I love you guys. We love you too, man. Michael says, ESPN has Robert Hunt from Miami, right guard, ranked as the number 14 free agent in 2024. They also have 49ers as the best fit for Hunt. Thoughts? I don't know a lot about about Hunt, so I'm not going to speculate on him. Larry, I don't know if you've seen him, or Coach, if you've seen him a lot and have an opinion.
Huge. He's a huge, very, very powerful guard for the Dolphins. And where do you play? I forget, East Carolina or something. I forget exactly.
ECU, I think.
I'm not sure if it's ECU, but it's some school like that. I'll say this: I looked at all the free agents, and I went and even took half hour and went through some of the key guys that I really wasn't sure about.
Who do you have? Because I got some O-line free agents. They're expensive, but
I don't like the offensive tackles that much. I mean, there's Trenton Brown, the former Niner, who's 380 pounds. There's Josh Neiman from Green Bay, might be decent value. There's the kid from Connecticut who plays for the Giants, Matt Peart. He's not bad. But to me, and I looked closely, I think the tackle situation is a draft only deal. I don't think that you're going to find what you're looking for in free agency. Now, guard, on the other hand, I love Sadiq Charles from the Commanders. I really like Damian Lewis, the former LSU kid who plays for Seattle. I like Kevin Dotson, who was started, I think, with the Steelers and was with the Rams. And I got next Thursday, the Chiefs left guard, Nick Allegretti, who's a buddy of mine. I really like Nick Allegretti as he's coming on the channel.
He could start for us.
I think he can start for us. Yeah, I mean,
Nick Allegretti could start for us.
He's super tough. He had the injury in the second quarter that Brock Purdy had, and he played the rest of the game with it. He had the UCL elbow deal in the second quarter of the Super Bowl, and he played the rest of the game because he knew he was the only guy out there. He's got the wrestling background. He's an academic All-American. To me, and he played in the Big Ten for the Illini, and he's just kind of been a good soldier for the Chiefs, playing off the bench. But he played in the Super Bowl, and he handled his business, and he's going to join me next Thursday, or this upcoming Thursday morning, on the channel, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl in retrospect with a chief offensive lineman here. But yeah, those are the
Allegretti.
four. Allegretti,
That's gonna be
Damian
fucking
Lewis, Sadiq Charles, Kevin Dotson, and maybe Robert Hunt. There's 4 or 5 guards that I think are really.
What do you
pretty
think
good.
about Dalton Reisner from Denver? 26, 6'5", 312.
Yeah,
Strength, toughness, versatility. That's somebody else who I think could sneak in. There's
it's not
also
a
a
bad
lot
one.
of
That's a decent name.
there's some good centers out there too. You do understand that Lloyd Christianberry is he's out there too.
Yeah, I love Cushenberry, former LSU kid. He played next to Damian Lewis with the Tigers.
Yeah, I would love to see if we can kick the tires on him. I mean, honestly, what if for what it's worth, if we did free agency,
What did that say? Hung
What'd it say?
Mower?
There is, yeah. I remember this, Randall.
One of
He
my
says one of my
favorite
favorite YouTube names, finding a 49ers chat through many years, was Hung Meow. Yeah, I remember him. I remember them. Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while. I have not seen him in a while, but I remember that name for sure. It's one that you're not ever gonna forget once you see it.
no. But yeah, I completely lost my train of thought. But what
Sorry. How do you not?
You were talking
Sorry.
free agent centers, I think.
Yeah. No, but honestly, I wouldn't mind going to go get a center. I think, Kyle likes to get those lovable losers at center. I mean, and if he doesn't, he gets a guy who really was a dog, but's a retread in Alex Mack. Alex Mack actually was a great center. I mean, Kyle got him at the end of his career and then squeezed the eagle till it screamed on the quarter from the last couple of years of production he got out of him. I honestly believe that Kyle was really disappointed that Alex Mack still wasn't playing. I mean, as a matter of fact, he was a little shocked that he didn't stay an extra 1 or 2 years. For me, I feel like that was when our running game was actually manageable, when Alex Mack was here, when we had a good center who knew how to make the calls. One thing, and I'm going to go over this with you, Larry, but one thing that I noticed during film is that there was a lot of confusion with the protection, setting the protection from Jake Brendel in this game. And I feel like it's going unmissed. Like, we're not talking about it. And I feel like in the games that we struggled, it's starting to become known that if you want to be able to get at the Niners, there's a ton of things that you can do as far as the weapons, Brock Purdy, obviously their defense. But I feel like the real Achilles heel of teams beating us is they started beating us up front. They started confusing our offensive line, mixing up the packages, having a lot of bluff blitzes, simulated pressures. If you look at the third down play, that was on the third and 4. What was that? That was a blitz coming in that came through the B-side gap where we misinterpreted the pressure. What happened on the down to score the third down in the red zone to score before we went up 3-0 off in overtime? We had a miscommunication with protection. We should have changed that protection. There was nobody there. Now, you can say that, well, why didn't Brock change the protection? I don't know their rules, right? We don't know their process rules on, does Brock have autonomy to change the protection if he sees
Center.
something?
It's on
right?
their center.
Right. And I know it's exactly like we know that,
But he
with
still
Jake.
has to be aware of a free blitzer. That is on him. He has to know that.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's something where, but the thing about it is that from what I know, Jesse, from processes, you can have the center set the protection. You can have the center make the calls in the protection. But then you also I've been on teams where there's also a fail safe. I played center by trade. That's what I played. You still have a fail safe with the quarterback, where if the quarterback ever chimes in on the protection, that means that all else fails. We do what he said because he sees the formation from a top-down view that we can't see it from, right? So if you think about it, that gives you 3 levels of failure on protections, where you make the original check with the play call that's brought in. You yourself can change the protection as the center, and then you have a fail safe with you being vetoed by the quarterback. That's a level of process that I don't think we have inside of our offense. And it showed itself in critical moments against Baltimore. It showed itself in critical moments in the Super Bowl. And I believe that we didn't really have those issues when Alex Mack was here. I like Jake Brindle. I understand that for what he is and what he's worth, he's a hell of a deal. But if we went ahead and got a real live guy at center, I think setting the protections and being able to be a lot more stout in the run game, considering the fact that this isn't a Jake Brindle discussion, but he struggles on one-on-one blocking. I mean, it's known. We've all seen Jake Brindle get blown up in the A gaps with one-on-one pressure, with being stalemated on bull rushes, especially when he's on a combo block versus a scoop. On scoop block, where he's going backside and comboing up to the backside, that's when he's special. He's fleet of foot. He has really good savviness with his angles. He does really good. He does really good with his hands. But when he's the pin and not the post, all right, and he's got to work front side on that scoop, he struggles. He can't get around that front side 3 technique or that shade. And a lot of times he gets blown back. Honestly, if we got another center in free agency, I think that would really help our offensive line. I know we talk about the right side. I know we do. But I just feel like the performance of Jake Brindle is really hurting us, because a strong center can help both guards. That's the reason why you get a center, because it elevates 2 positions on top of elevating the literal position that you're putting in right there. A center is important.
He's a street free agent. He doesn't make all the calls. I did talk to him in Vegas a couple days before the Super Bowl. He's a great guy, but I think there's a very good chance that he's a cap casualty. And you also, I would not be surprised if Nick Zakelj gets some run at center. He's smart. He's tough. He's Brock's roommate.
6'7", big kid.
6'7", like 315 pounds. Ben Barch can play some center. Feliciano could be re-signed and he could play more center. So they do have some options there. Colton McKivitz is a guy that the 49ers love. Now, I don't think they want him to play right tackle going forward, but I feel like they feel like Colton McKivitz could be their center. So I think somebody between Brendel and McKivitz probably gets cut, and I wouldn't be surprised if Zakelj or Barch or McKivitz or Feliciano. I wouldn't be surprised if Brendel's not the center and somebody else is in there this year, and maybe not a big name in free agency, maybe just somebody internally.
There's thing
bigger bodied guys there.
One thing that really resonated with me was 2 years ago, Kyle Shanahan was talking about the center position. And I can't remember if it was when, I want to say it was when Mac retired. He said, the center position is the heartbeat of this offense. I said, wow, that sounds really nice. But for the heartbeat of this offense, you really have not put in the correct assets for what you would consider the heartbeat of your offense. And they've gone, round and round with a new center each and every year. And we talk about Brendel. He's fine, but he's not a blue chipper. He bumped around the league and was barely making teams, or not even making teams or playing, for a reason, and he's worked out here. He's definitely probably exceeded expectation, but for the heartbeat of your offense, interesting way to kind of run things if that is the case. So I don't know.
I agree, Jesse. You kind of get me riled up, and everybody knows here, Coach goes on rants. I'll get riled up and I'll go, but it's the truth. I played the position, and I was not a super athletic great player, right? What got me on the field was my intellect. That's what got me on the field. That's what got me on the field in college. That's what got me on the field in high school. And I'm going to tell you right now, having a conscientious player at center rights so many wrongs. They see so many things about the offense. They understand. One of the things about a center in my position is that you have to be the ultimate facilitator, from the standpoint that you got to help your boys. All right. Your guys need to be put in the best position, especially when I'm setting protections. I've set protections on the wrong side because I knew that there was a guy on the other side that I knew on the other side of my offensive line that was strong enough to help that lock side on his own. And I knew that he was going to be over there and trusted. That's the type of trust from a center that you have to have. And I'm telling you, I'm not here to say that that's not what we have in Jake Brindle, but I will say that a good center makes so many things right for an offensive line that isn't necessarily predicated on stout talent at 1-for-1 position, right? And that's not what we have, right? We have an offensive line that is by trade going to be a little undersized, more fleet of foot, eager to get on outside zone. They play more with angles. They're going to wall you off and log you off. But these are not Bob players, body on body, hat on a hat, get you downhill guys. On top of it, what's emblematic of that is the fact that we stayed away from duo this year when we were a huge duo team, when we had guys like Jeff Wilson Jr. and bigger backs. We've taken a step back as far as the process of our offensive line. We've taken a step back as far as the positioning and the development of our offensive line. We don't have as many young players that we can count on from the offensive line. And it has showed up. It showed up. You can't be physical and weak up front. We got to handle the offensive line big time this year. And I really would like to see a better center.
Yeah, I would too. Michael says ESPN has Robert Hunt from Miami. Oh yeah, well that was where we were just at.
Well, yeah.
How about them Niners? Running back sleeper Isaac Guerrero, 6'1", 225, 240
I feel you,
times
Dusty.
here, 434, 447, dual. Wow, English is tough. Dual role running back, looks like James Conner when he rushes. There's a lot of good running backs in this draft, but none of them are first round worthy. And to Larry's point, I don't know which one's going to be first, but man, there's 5 or 6 really good ones, maybe more. So
Brooks,
I'm curious
Brinson, and
to see.
Corum. You
I
think
love.
Corum,
By the way, I
Corum, yeah.
love this. I love this player that this guy's talking about, Guerrero.
Mhm.
I love the bowl game. I don't know if you did you see the Holiday Bowl? Did you guys see the Holiday Bowl this year against SC?
No.
This guy had 23 carries for 161 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he caught 5 balls as well. He averaged over 7 yards a carry. He also went off against Virginia, 6 carries, 94 yards, 15.7 yards per carry. The week before against Vatek in early November, 11 carries for 146, averaged 13 yards a carry. I don't know about that 40 time. I'll be eager to see what he runs in Indy, but this guy's real. This guy's really good. I mean, I saw him at least 3 times this year. We're talking about a guy who averaged over 6 yards a carry for the year. And he had 22 receptions, so he can catch the ball. And if you watch him, he's definitely a tackle breaker. He's about 230 pounds, great athlete. He's an Indiana kid, but he played at Louisville. I like that kid. I like Isaac Guerrero. I'm eager to see what he looks like in Indy.
I'd much rather overdraft a running back like TDP or something like that and see how that works out. Wachoa says sign Trent Brown. I brought this up on Grant's show. Not that expensive anymore. Yeah, good versatile guard. Well, hold on. He's more of a tackle. Can be moved to tackle if injuries occur. 1-year deal. Develop offensive tackles from the draft. Yeah, I mean, I guess technically you could play both, but I like Trent Brown. They should have never gotten rid of him, especially for a 7th round pick. Man, I get he's bigger. And at the time, he had weight issues. I don't want to act as if that wasn't a thing. Then I totally understand it. But they really got nothing for him. He's proven to be nothing but a really good player since he left. Humberto Ramirez says, really like the upside of Kingsley. I'm not saying the last name. There we go.
Yeah, Sumatea from BYU. He's a great athlete. And
isn't that the tackle?
Yeah, he's a little undersized, though. I mean,
he's
NFL tackles.
Yeah,
NFL tackles are about
6'4".
Well, they're like 320, 330, and this guy's like 285.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Now I'm looking at him right now. It says they got him at 6'4", 330.
No, he's not 330. We'll see. I think he's going to be between 280 and 300. But I mean, he's a great. I'll say this: it almost doesn't matter. He's a terrific mover at that size. Like if you watch this kid, you'd be like, "Whoa, look at this guy." And he's a tremendous athlete. Yeah, I would say he's going to be, depending on, he's one of those guys that's going to be impacted by the pre-draft workouts. He may be a first round pick. I've seen people say that he may go in the 20s. Other people think he's going to go in like the 60s. So we'll see.
Gold Towel is hilarious. Gold Towel said we desperate as fuck. Trent Brown.
Trent Brown's good. He's good.
I have a dorky question to ask you though, Larry. So do you think, because Trent Brown, all right, because of the way the league is now, I feel as though that, I said this earlier in the show, but traditionally it used to be the most athletic offensive lineman used to be the left tackle, right? That's
right.
where the premier rusher for most defenses used to be on the right side of the defense. However, now we've seen like right tackles show left tackle athleticism and consistency and greatness, quite frankly. Lane Johnson, you have the emergence of Penei Sewell. I mean, Tristan Wirfs is at left tackle now, but he started at right tackle as a rookie, showed good promise. I guess my question to you is that as that changes and the pipeline of tackles starts becoming a little bit more ambiguous, right? Like where it just really doesn't matter how great they are based on what side they're on. They're just both great tackles. Would it be prudent to start seeing coaches start kicking older tackles down to guard? Now, hear me out. The NFL isn't as physical as it used to be, okay? Most of the run game that you're going to get is going to be either off tackle. Everybody runs some version of zone now, right? So very rarely you're going to get a lot of body on body power running teams, okay? And most of that athleticism that you're going to get, that you're going to lose from that tackle spot as you get older can be almost kind of like an uptick on the interior playing at guard, all right? And on top of it is, with linemen, older linemen gain weight. It's harder and harder for them to stay in shape and to keep their weight. So if you get an older tackle who's about 15 to 20 pounds, us big boys, 15 to 20 pounds is really like 5 pounds for us. But 15 to 20 pounds for us, throw that on a tackle that's 310, 315, 330 for his regular rate. Kick him down to guard with the athleticism that he's used to having at tackle, and then we can start seeing a Trent Williams at guard, a Lane Johnson at right guard. You see what I'm saying? Where it's like, well, the physicality's not down there anyway, and you guys have athleticism for days. Why not repurpose it, right? Why not repurpose that and keep playing? What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because like in the 80s and 90s, the tackles were like House Ballard, or they were the monsters, and the guards were more, they could move
agile.
Yeah, they were. Now it's the opposite. Now the speed off the edge in the NFL is so incredible that you got to have footwork, and if you don't have footwork, you just get exposed. So it really becomes the guys with the great footwork play tackle and get paid. And the guys who don't have the great footwork, you got to be really strong inside, and you need that natural body width, I guess.
You're making a good point. Alive Insurance made a good point. He said, "Cost, coach, cost."
And there's also the cost. Yeah, I mean,
that's a great
paying
point.
A guy. But the Sumatea kid is really interesting. He is Penei Sewell's cousin, and he was a 5-star high school guy. Maybe he's the guy. There's a lot of people that feel like this guy's like the ultimate mauler. So I'm interested to see. I didn't watch tons of BYU this year, but this guy's very explosive. So I'm eager to see what his film looks like. Yeah, and I don't know his situation. He transferred. He was at Oregon, I believe, and transferred. He redshirted for the Ducks during the pandemic, and then after a year at Oregon, he chose to transfer to BYU.
They had a lot of really good linemen then.
He's from Orem. He's from Utah. He's from Orem, Utah. So
his upside may be crazy because it's saying right here that he's a sophomore.
Yeah, I mean he's an incredible, and not only that, he's an incredible athlete.
Had to be a red shirt.
Redshirt sophomore. Yeah.
But but a redshirt sophomore, guys, you got to understand, man. Offensive line is one of the last true positions where, we want seniors, right? We want tried and true oaks with good roots. They got a little bit of hair on their chest. They're men. That's why offensive linemen start right away. You know what I mean? Like, you can find linemen that are 5th-year seniors in the 7th round. You know what I mean? That's the true traditional foundation piece. The fact that this kid is showing this kind of upside and he's a redshirt junior and he's
Look at
making
what
the
his
leap.
name is, bro. He's got elite
I know
man
he's
strength and had it at
no, I'm
16.
not challenging it. What I'm saying is that no. I'm not challenging it, Jesse. What I'm saying is that the fact that this kid is making the leap at this age, lineman is a true man position.
Yeah.
Right? There's no high schoolers. I don't care how good you are. There's no high schooler on planet Earth that's going to be 18, 19, whatever, putting himself in the trenches of NFL ball, let alone D1 college ball. So the fact that this kid is young and he hasn't really finished out his whole career and he's still making a push, that's promising.
Another guy to watch for at the combine, because I think there's arm length issues, and according to what I've read about him, that his film was all over the place. Like his film, that if you catch him on the right day, he looks awesome, and there's other days he's looked bad. So that's going to be one of those beauty in the eye of the beholder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to with him.
Brother Bob, we literally said it on stream. We're not rehashing it, but appreciate you, man. James says, "What's good, y'all? Niners fan from Joplin,
Missouri.
Been having to rock a Chiefs hat to work until next season. What did you lose a bet?
You lost a bet?
Yeah, maybe I'll rub it for bad luck on them. That's the only thing I can think of. Either that or he's like works for a corporate company and they make you wear the local team hat, which to that I say boo.
Joplin, Missouri is a big music capital too, I believe, isn't it?
I don't know. Not very familiar with Missouri. Titus says, Larry, I'm a big fan, but what did you mean when you said you didn't need the help in the chat or super chats? I'm not sure I understand. I think what he was saying was, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but what he's saying is we don't need it that bad to where we're going to take personal shots and disrespect, like manhood disrespect and abuse just because you're in the chat or you donate money. We're not here to sell our souls and do it because you pay a couple bucks. Absolutely
and
not.
We're always
here to where he was going.
For respect. And I think that's what Titus is trying to get to. I don't think that's not what Larry was saying. Whereas we're literally disrespecting the very support that we have. Nobody's saying that. But what we're saying is just like every man in this chat within the earshot of my voice, every man has a limit. Period. Period. I don't care if it's online or anywhere.
Yeah, and don't misunderstand. And Titus, thank you, bro, because I know you're a regular listener, chatter, donator, and I appreciate it. I really do. What I'm saying is just that, we get into these football debates, right? And maybe your perception of it is that Jesse and I disagreed about something. Okay, that's fine. But that's where it ends. Jesse's my friend. I don't want or need you to, insult his wife. I don't want or need you to drop N-bombs on the coach. I don't want or need you to attack people because you got caught up in an argument. We're friends here. And sometimes people in the chat don't understand that. And so I'm not saying I don't want you here. I do want you here. I'm thrilled that you are here. But I'm just saying that Pete, and I'm saying not, obviously I'm not talking to you, Titus, because I've never really heard you say anything in any way questionable. But just because we disagree on something doesn't mean we want to see super chats getting personal or antagonistic with our guests and our friends. That's
like Andy 707. I love Andy. Andy grinds my gears every time I come in the show. But there's a limit. He never disrespects me personally. He never
Mhm.
comes at me on a disrespectful level. He always keeps it on level. Like, I can take that. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you try to take it to a level where it's clear that you are taking advantage over the fact that we are online, come on, man. Now it's a whole different thing. We got to be respectful, dude. Come on.
There's
And
a
I come
word.
from the
There's a
chat.
word for it. It's called decorum.
Yeah.
Have some level of decorum. And if we
Mhm.
don't have it, shame on us. But I try to maintain some level of decorum, and I know you guys do as well. And I don't want to see anybody in the chat, even if I'm having the most passionate back and forth with somebody, it doesn't mean I want you to go cross some line and insult them or their wives or girlfriends or
That's what I was laughing
sons
at.
or, sons or daughters, please.
I
Keep
feel
my
you.
coach's name out your mouth. We appreciate it, Titus.
I love
I'm
Greg.
glad- hopefully, we were able to clarify for you. Brother Bob says, "Well, this sub pays. Damn it! Respect my $2 supers." That's the whole point, though. You sub, but you also watch. That's
Oh no!
where
Hung
we were at.
Meow is back, bro.
Who
Hung Meow.
is he? No,
Yes.
I'm here,
Woo!
bro. We were just talking about you. That
That's
is
what I'm talking
crazy.
about, baby.
Wow, that is wild. Haven't seen him forever, and he's here. That's hilarious.
He was
All right,
here with his
Michael.
burner. Somebody probably called him and was like, "Dog, they're talking about you right fucking now on the show. Get on here and represent, bro."
Michael says Mitchell and Mason are my surprise cuts in 2024. We need to upgrade at running back depth. I worry for McCaffrey's health. Antonio Gibson, free agency. Marshawn Lloyd from the draft. Huge upgrades. Ooh, I don't think they're cutting both of them, but that would be a big surprise, Michael, if they did. Big surprise.
I looked at the free agent list. I kind of like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's going to be cheap. I kind of like Kareem
Keep that
Hunt.
up. Keep that up.
I can't see them signing Kareem Hunt, but Kareem Hunt is a damn good back. Antonio
Yeah.
Gibson, Zach Moss, J.K. Dobbins, Dante Foreman.
Let me tell y'all
just
about Antonio
some of the
Gibson.
backs that are out there.
Let me tell you about Antonio Gibson. All right, he's from the Commanders. I loathe the Commanders.
Thanks
right?
for letting me know, man.
And I love giving it to him while I'm here. It's amazing. And I kind of look at the Commanders as like almost like our feeder system, where it's like either we use them as a garbage can and throw them Chris Culliver and Brandon Lloyd and make them think that they're going to be really big things for them, or we take things from them that we don't even really want, like Chase Young. It's just like he's so important to you guys, but we think he has effort issues. I love bossing up on the Commanders. So I will tell you this: Antonio Gibson is a fucking dog. Okay. You want to talk about a big back,
A dog,
has
DAWG or DOG?
W. Like this kid, I want to say that he's a converted receiver turned running back. And you want to talk about somebody that can catch out of the backfield, that has vision, he can put his foot in the ground. I'm telling you, Antonio Gibson, if there was somebody, let's just say for some reason we let go of Mitchell and we kept Mason. Antonio Gibson is a sneaky good get. I have been okay. So right now the Commanders have Brian Robinson, the big back out of Alabama that got shot. We know this kid. He's good for them. He kind of got Antonio Gibson kind of got phased out because they're different backs, but they're too much of on the same plane. They're both bigger backs. They both run strong. Antonio Gibson is way more finesse than him, but Brian Gibson is what they need because they suck. So they need a guy.
Robinson.
Brian Robinson, exactly. Brian Robinson is somebody that they absolutely need. He's got the start because they suck. Gibson, if he comes here, I'm telling you, I'm not trying to say he's on CMC's level. I'm not going to be sacrilegious, but you get requisite talent from Gibson that you would get from CMC in a bigger back and a stronger runner. I'm telling you, that is a sneaky good get for us. because
he was a wide receiver at Memphis.
Yeah, like I said, he was a wide receiver convert. I knew, dude. I hate this team here at the commit. I love this team, but sometimes I give them a little bit of praise, and I watch them. And the biggest praise that I give them, and I was like, dude, if we could just steal Antonio Gibson from you guys, we'd be good. He's a great. I mean, he'd be a great get for us. Really, he's better than Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason. I really like this kid. Gibson is a dog.
Ravi says, "Is the Danny Gray experiment over?" Gosh, it sure does feel like it. Sure does feel. He's going to get one more. I think he'll get one more training camp, but I could see him. I could see him getting cut. We'll see.
Can't stay healthy.
Yep. GA Garage says, if Kyle and Lynch go all in on getting a good O-line in the first round, what's their best bet besides the Raiders pick? So you're saying to trade up if they were to trade up? I mean, you're gonna have to give up a lot to move up in this draft, man. There's a lot of really good players. I don't know that they can get higher than the 20s. Realistically.
Yeah, I mean,
the BA pick is always at play. So
okay. So BA in your first rounder to get up in the top 12.
I mean,
15?
if they really believe it, I'll tell you this. This is what I do want to see out of this team. I'm tired of this. Is one thing that I am tired of hearing. I'm tired of hearing the grandstanding, fly on the wall, let me tell you when conversations. I want to see these guys take a chance, and I want to see these guys be sold out on a kid and go get them. All right. If they think that giving up assets to go get a guy that, like, at this stage of the game, all right. Tell me how you feel about this. I really want your feedback. We're as good as we're going to be, right? Think about this. There's people that in a perfect world, what could you say what would have won us the Super Bowl? Most people would have said, man, if the Niners would have prioritized their offensive line, man, we'd have won this game because we were the more talented team, right? However, if we would have prioritized our offensive line, that means we have a perfect offense. That's what that means. That means that us with a good offensive line, with what we have, is a perfect offense, which means it's not realistic. We put our money into the weapons that we have. All right. So what I'm here to say is it's time for us to do something new. I'm piggybacking on Larry's point earlier in the show, where Larry brought up the fact that we're a little sheepish at looking at the fact that we're not retooling. This is not a position here or a position there. We're not one player away from winning the Super Bowl. This isn't a Tyler Croft moment. This isn't a Jaquaski Tart moment. This isn't a Jimmy Garoppolo moment. Don't you find it ironic that every time we fail or we lose in a season, for some reason, we have found a way to always quantify it to one play, one person, one issue. We lost the game because of Coach Wilkes. If you go back and look throughout the season, it was there all year. That's why, and it finally reared its ugly head. We didn't beat the Eagles because of Tyler Croft. We got to go get Cam Latu. That'll fix it. Really, the reason why we lost the Super Bowl in 2019 is because Jimmy Garoppolo missed Emmanuel Sanders on that long route. That's sour grapes. It's time for them to show new process and show trust in the fact that they have found a new way on how to win, because the ways that we've been trying to win aren't working. If I see something different in this year's draft, I'll be encouraged. I would love to see them go whole hog on offensive line. Pound the table on offensive line. You know why? Because we haven't seen it, right? I'd like to see them go get a running back and use them throughout the whole season. Go get another tight end. Double down on something outside of defensive line. Like, it's time for us to see different process, because I feel like we're getting to the point of we need something new. It's time for something new. And if we don't double down and my opinion is that we should double down on the offensive line. I want to see us pound on the offensive line, pause the way we have done on the defensive line. Because It's high time. It's almost embarrassing to go to a Super Bowl with an offensive line like that. Honestly, right? We're going against the Chiefs for better or for worse. We're playing the Chiefs. The Chiefs are not good as us in certain areas on their team. But where were the Chiefs woefully bad? Where? Where on their team were they embarrassingly bad? Where you could look at that element of their team and say, Jesus Christ, why did they even roll on the field with that one? That's what they're almost that's the elephant in the room, right? There's a difference. How can you be so good of a team like us and have that type of offensive line? It's embarrassing. That's why we lost to these guys.
This is why, because they're covering, they prioritize D-line over O-line, and they swung and missed on Solly and swung and missed on the Kinlaw trade. So they keep and they keep getting to draft day, and it may happen again this year. By the time April, we're 2 months away from the draft. As we're all sitting here right now, we're all in agreement. Niners need offensive line. But guess what? By the time draft day rolls around, they'll probably take a defensive lineman because that's what they do. You draft what you value. If you value D-line, you draft D-line. If you value O-line, you draft O-line.
Well, don't have a fifth-round pick in Spencer Burford on the most important play of your season, and he's got a two-way go on Payne on the inside and Chris Jones on the outside. And you got Jake Brindle popping out for play action protection. Come on, man.
Well, no, I know. It's criminal. I mean, think about it.
It's 30. It's 34, Larry. It's 34. It's two down territory, Larry.
How many times?
Why can't we run the ball?
How many times do we need? I would have run it like Philly ran it. I would have run it on third down with the decision made that I'm going to run it on fourth down, and I'm going to win this game with my offense. I'm not handing it over to Mahomes with that much time left. But to me, and this is where it really bugs me, it bothers me that Spencer Burford got mad at Feliciano for outing him. Now, Feliciano spoke the truth.
What?
It bothers me.
Whoa. It bothers you.
Yes.
Hold on, I need to hear this right. It bothers you that Spencer Burford was upset with John Feliciano for outing him on social media. Did I hear that correctly?
Right. Because here's the thing. Spencer Burford should have said, hey, you know what? I blew that. It's Chris freaking Jones. He's owned you. You're going to get into the biggest play of the game, and you're going to give Chris Jones a free run so you can combo block Jake Brendle's man? What? Really? And the fact of the matter is that when everybody was crushing Colton McKivitz, if I was Spencer Burford, I would have said, hey, guys, don't crush Colton McKivitz. I lie, you lie, the tape doesn't lie. The tape showed it was my mistake. It was my mistake. Instead, Feliciano had to say it, and then Burford was like, thanks, bro. Dude, it was your mistake. You should have owned it. The fact that Feliciano called it out is just, now we're mad at Feliciano for telling the truth. I think it's just football. We can all handle the truth. Somebody made a mistake. It's okay to say you made the mistake. Mistakes are made. It's not okay to have everybody burying Colton McKivitz. You're reading this and not taking accountability. Take accountability. It was your mistake. You let the best defensive tackle in the league get a free run in the most important play of the game on your quarterback. It's okay. It's a mistake. I make mistakes. You make mistakes. Just own it. Instead, he's like, thanks, bro. And it's like, yeah, Feliciano, it wasn't Feliciano's greatest moment, but now we're more mad at Feliciano for speaking the truth than for Spencer Burford not being accountable. Be accountable, bro. Be accountable. You made the mistake. Own it. It's okay. Nobody's going to die if you own the truth. I mean, at the end of the day, Feliciano apologized, but should he have? He said the truth. And the truth is that if me and you you screw up, or if I screw up in the middle of a stream, and everybody and their brother is blaming Jesse, that's not cool, dude. I should own that. You shouldn't have to sit there, coach, and say, hey, it was on Jesse. it wasn't on Larry, or it was on Larry, it wasn't on Jesse. A third party shouldn't have had to jump in there. It's between two guys. The guy who made the mistake should have owned it, and that's all I'm saying. Instead of tweeting at Feliciano for speaking the truth, he should have tweeted ahead of that and said, "You know what? McKivitz is getting crushed. That was my blown assignment. Sorry. I'll try to be better." It's okay. People make mistakes. Own it. Don't wait until somebody else calls you out and then get mad at the person who called you out. And then Feliciano had to apologize. Hey, man, I had too many drinks and this and that. Well, but John, you notice what he didn't do is he didn't take it back. He just apologized for saying it, but he didn't take it back because it's the truth.
So we just gonna gloss over the fact that they had a pulling center on a clear passing down, as if that wasn't a mess
Play
up by
action
Kyle.
in the red zone. Play action in the red zone.
Don't combo
Blame
block
Kyle for that.
But you can't combo block on the nose
You can't
guard
pull
and leave Chris Jones
on a
wide
clear
open.
passing down. They pulled the center. What?
But okay, so you pulled the center.
Larry,
That's not great.
Larry.
We'll
My
go
God.
live.
Larry. Oh, Larry.
What?
How the fuck are you going to blame, dude?
It was
We
Spencer
go-
Burford's mistake.
We go 5 fucking wide, 4 wide with Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. We're in the fucking red zone, and we call a play action protection. Not to protect Brock, but we call a play action protection to trigger the fucking linebackers out of the hole, not to protect Brock, but to get Kyle's fucking system triggered. And you want to tell me that play is on a 5th round pick playing in the Super Bowl? You want to tell me that? That's what you want to say right now. That's what you want to say right now.
Are you through?
Out of your mind.
Are you through?
Crazy?
Whose mistake was that?
Dog.
Wait a second. No, you just yelled and screamed. Now I'm gonna have my say. You're getting mad at the call. The call was the call. The play, you can get mad at the call, but that's secondary. The call, once the call is made, you have to block it. You're gonna let Chris Jones, the most dangerous defensive tackle in the league, have a free run at your quarterback to combo block on the nose guard?
Dog, he's guarding paint. He sees paint on his inside. He sees paint on his outside. He sees the left. He sees his center gone. And the first thing that he does is he guards the most dangerous man. MDM, most dangerous man. Who has the quickest line of path to the quarterback? You're inside or you're outside. You block the inside. It was a shitty protection.
Even if it was a shitty
on the red zone, in the red zone, Larry.
You're talking. Okay, so we're gonna move the goalposts here. So you don't like the call. That's fine, but that you don't leave Chris Jones. Chris Jones is the inside player.
No, he wasn't.
There was a defensive end opposite him. He was there. Chris Jones is the most destructive lineman in the game. You'd never give him a free run in that situation. To combo block, that's what he did. He combo blocked. And gave Chris Jones a free run at Brock Purdy. Why? You don't combo block and give Chris Jones a free run. Now, if you don't like the call, coach, that's a secondary discussion. But once the call is made, you're giving Chris Jones, you're absolving Spencer Burford based on his draft position.
I'm not absolving him.
He's a 4th round pick, and he was in the game.
I'm not absolving him.
And it was his mistake.
But what I'm saying is that you put your players in the best position possible. And when you know that your offensive line is the weakest unit you got, and you're in the one play that you got, you don't put them in a precarious situation like play action, and you're popping the center out for play action. It's a very eclectic protection. Would you not say that, Larry? Pulling the center. Hold on, just answer that. Would you
don't
not
have to
say
answer
that pulling, which I've answered? All right.
I don't
you
have
ain't
to
gotta
answer
shit.
it.
All right, yeah, do whatever the fuck you want. That's cool.
I don't have to answer.
You know what I'm saying? It's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I don't have to answer if it's an eclectic, whatever. What I'm saying is the best defensive lineman on the field was unblocked, and you had 2 linemen on that side, and McKivitz was getting blamed for it, and it wasn't McKivitz's call. And that's
so it was Joe Feliciano's call to correct all of the people on Twitter. That was his call.
First of all, John Feliciano did nothing but speak the truth.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Whether
that's not what I said,
Coach. Whether it was his job or not,
no.
Really
that's not what I said, Larry. I didn't say you don't want the truth. I said so. It was John Feliciano's call.
Why are you so offended?
I'm asking you a question.
Why are you so offended? That
no. Just answer my question.
What are you, Burford's dad?
So it was John Feliciano. Don't try to insult me to get me off kilter.
I'm asking you a question.
All I'm saying is I am not his father. You don't have to insult me.
Are you telling
me? Wait a minute, Larry. You don't have to insult me
minutes.
But I didn't insult you. I didn't insult you and call you Colton McKivitz's father or John Feliciano's uncle.
Who knows more about this, Coach? You, me, or John Feliciano? Thank you. John Feliciano. And that's
not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is the fact that you're defending John Feliciano for outing a teammate on social media. That's what you're doing.
I'm not defending him. I'm saying he spoke
the truth. You're not defending John Feliciano.
No, I'm saying he spoke the truth. I'm saying it's
ergo.
I'm just saying it's not a great moment for anybody. But what's worse? Everybody blaming Colton McKivitz for an assignment that wasn't his, or John Feliciano pointing out that it was the right guard's assignment. And you know how John Feliciano would know that, Coach? Because he was in the meetings all week, and that's his position.
Can I say this real quick? Let me say this real quick.
I don't know why you're getting so mad about
it.
Who knows more about this, Feliciano or us? Feliciano.
Here's the thing: is Burford, I thought, did do the right thing, and when the media was there for exit meetings, he gathered everybody around and took 100% accountability, which is what he should do. And Feliciano made the mistake. I don't care. You don't call out your teammates on social media. You just don't do
social media, bro. Larry, hold on. So Larry, if you make a hold on, wait a minute. So Larry, if you make a blunder, let me say this.
Larry,
if you make a blunder, hold on, Larry, if you make a blunder, right? That's legit. Hold on. If you make a blunder, that's legit on air. All right. And people are blaming Jesse for that blunder. All right. If I go on air, if I go on Twitter and I say, actually, guys, it was Larry's fault. Right. Larry is the guy who should have been covering it. You guys got to lay off Jesse.
Right.
Larry, if we're on the same team, you would not look at me and be like, well, damn, thank you, coach. That was awesome. No, or are you hold on. No, are you going to take the same position as, you know what, coach? Thanks for setting the record straight, because I would hate for the fans to think that it was Jesse. I'm glad that you threw my feet to the
Why
fire.
Are you so
and threw
offended?
me under the fucking bus.
Why are you so offended that John Feliciano backed up Colton McKivitz there?
It's not the fact that he backed up Colton McKivitz.
Wait a second. You just said
that he threw Spencer Burford under the bus.
You said
that's the point.
And once again, are you Spencer Burford's father?
No.
Why do you care more about Spencer?
Conscious observer and understand what somebody's getting snake.
Why are you more upset about Spencer Burford's
for me to understand that he got fucked?
Why? Can I talk? Why is Spencer
you asked me a question? I'm answering you.
Can I talk?
Yes, stop being a victim. You asked the question, I'm answering you.
Are you going to talk over me, or are you going to let me talk?
No, I'm answering very loudly, and you want to act like you can't speak. I'm answering a question that you're asking me.
When you're done, let me know. Let me know when you're finished. All right.
I'm finished.
You just said, since we're looking at this right now, bird's eye view, that Chris Jones was the outside man. But
all right, let's go. Play it.
No, right here, 32.
Chris Jones is not the outside man.
Is the biggest threat.
Here we go. They're on the left side. There's an outside guy. There's an outside guy.
Let's go. Play it.
That's McKivitz at right tackle.
Please play it.
Blocking 56. That is right there.
Run it back. It's right there. I can see.
Now we're in the field goal.
It's all right. Here we go. I'll get it again. It's right here.
I just don't know why you're so. The public was blaming Colton McKivitz. John Feliciano didn't want to have any of it because he knew that wasn't the right guy to blame. So he came out.
But in the course of it, he threw his teammate under the bus, Larry.
Yeah, and that's why he apologized. But everybody was throwing Colton McKivitz under the bus. Why can't? So it's not okay for John Feliciano to speak the truth because it might hurt Spencer Burford, is what you're saying.
You don't do it in public. You don't do it in public. You don't do it. You don't do it. Anybody who's in a leadership position knows.
And that's why he apologized. But the truth is the truth. And the truth is that Burford made the mistake, not McKivitz. McKivitz was taking the blame. All Feliciano, who plays right guard, was saying was the truth. And why are you getting so mad about that? You're not on the team.
Because it was in a public setting.
Because he threw his teammate under the bus,
and in the process, also in the process, well, he threw him under the bus, or did he? You're looking at it that way. The other side of it is he alleviated the blame and basically vacuumed the blame off of Colton McKivitz. And if it wasn't Colton McKivitz's fault, then why is that a bad thing?
He alleviated the blame.
Right, Colton McKivitz.
You saw it. Heard of that? Alleviated the blame. Hold on, wait a minute. So the fans.
Do you hate Colton McKivitz? I mean, why? What is it? Why should Colton McKivitz take the blame for Spencer Burford's mistake? Why, Coach?
Because the fans are the people that are pointing this out, not coaches. This is public
human beings.
Hold on, no,
dude.
This is public opinion, Larry.
This
isn't a coach. So you mean to tell me that you hold on, wait a minute. So you break the veil of trust. Hold on, let me just so you break the veil of trust for one teammate to defend another? How is wrong plus wrong equal good?
I'm okay with the truth coming out.
Let me ask you this. How does wrong plus wrong? Why
are you so offended?
I'm not offended. I'm asking you a question. How does wrong plus wrong equal okay?
First of all, good? It's between Feliciano and Burford. But Burford should instead of being pissed at Feliciano, he should have been like, you know what? He's right.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
He did though. How do
you know? Yeah. He admitted that he was wrong in
the locker room. Did he not in the locker room?
Spencer Burford said, "Yo, that's
that
crazy."
Quote. I never saw that. I've read all the game stories. I never saw the Spencer Burford quote where he said it was on me.
I'm saying 2 days later in the locker room, Grant specifically said out of his mouth that he.
But this was happened before. This happened before that.
This is crazy.
Colton McKivitz was getting dragged, and his teammate came to his defense. And for some reason, you have a problem with it, and I don't know why. Because it doesn't involve
he could have come to his defense without throwing Burford under the bus, though. Too, there's a way to be tactful about it.
Go ahead. How?
Well, first of all, either don't do it because it's on social media and you're trying to fight the color. Yeah.
How?
He chose to come out.
How does he defend Colton McKivitz without hurting Burford? Tell me. Go ahead.
All he would have to say
on social media because you're a pro football player.
All he'd have to say is they sent 6. They sent 6. We were blocking 5. They just got to him too quick. That's it. Simple. It's not McKivitz's fault.
I can't believe that you're trying to absolve. You've been a part of locker rooms, Larry. Larry. You've been a part of locker rooms. You tell me at one point when is it ever okay for teammates to discuss team business on social media? Ever. I'm under the impression that there's a sign inside of the 49ers locker room that says protect the team. Protect the team. That's not protecting the team, Larry.
Why not? You just don't like the fact that he's protecting Colton McKivitz.
No, it's not about Colton McKivitz. I don't have
McKivitz was getting raked. Colton McKivitz was getting raked by everybody. Go look it up. He was getting raked by the audience, by the Twitter world. He was getting raked. John Feliciano came to his defense. Why does that piss you off?
Because you're trying. Hold on. I'll answer you. because you're trying to act like you don't understand the logic here. You're being facetious.
No, I'm not.
You've been
No,
a
I'm
part
not.
of teams,
I know
Larry.
what facetious means.
When has it ever been okay for teammates to air out team business on social media, Larry?
Colton McKivitz was getting raked.
I understand
John-
that. You keep
all
saying
John-
that.
all
But I
John
want you to
Feliciano
answer
said-
my okay,
all
Larry,
John
can you
Felici-
please answer my
all
question?
John Feliciano said was it wasn't his fault. And it wasn't his fault. End of story.
All right, Larry. It's cool.
No, hey,
It's cool.
but
It's
there's a
cool.
word, coach. Here's a big word for you: accountability. Have some. If
It's
you
okay.
have
He
accountability,
did.
if you have accountability,
Spencer
you don't care.
Burford had accountability. He stood
3
in the
days
middle
later. 3 days later,
when he was available to the media. What are you talking about? 3 days later, as if he was hiding. What does that mean?
He was.
Hold on, but
Colton McKivitz was
what
getting
does
raped.
that mean?
Do you notice
He was
that
getting
John
raped. You're
Feliciano-
talking about 3 days later.
John Feliciano.
He was available to the media when he had the opportunity to.
John
And he was
Feliciano-
wide open about it. What are you talking about?
John Feliciano apologized for throwing his teammate under the bus. It wasn't a great look, but he didn't take it back, did he? Why?
Well, what does apologizing mean?
He apologized. It's called an apology. He actually apologized.
What does an apology do? What do you mean? What is
I don't
an
give a
apology
shit.
for?
I don't give a shit about any of that. He apologized. And here's the thing. If
What
the
do
three
you
of us
mean?
are
Hold
having
on,
a
wait a
show,
minute.
if
You're
the
not
three
going
of
to
us
fast
are
talk
having
me.
a
Hold on,
show,
wait a minute.
if the three of us are having a show.
Hold on, wait a minute.
and I make
Wait a
a
minute.
mistake.
So
No, wait a minute.
What
I'm
does
gonna
an
finish my
apology
statement.
entail? What does an apology entail?
Now you're pissing
You
me
said
off.
you
You're not
keep
gonna let
saying
me
I don't
finish
care
my
if I'm
statement?
pissing you off.
You're not
What
going to let
what
me
does
finish
that
my
mean?
statement.
I
You're not
don't
going
care
to
if
let
I'm
me finish
pissing you off.
You're not
I'm
going to let me
talking
finish
about
my
no.
statement.
Wait a minute. You telling me
not
that
gonna
I'm
let me
pissing
finish
you
my
off
statement.
does nothing. I don't give a fuck about me pissing you off. What I asked you was if he apologized but he didn't take it back. What does that mean to you?
He did take it back.
You said that he didn't take it back. You said
I said he did.
You said he apologized, but he didn't take it back. What does that mean to you?
He did not take back the facts of his statement. He just apologized for making the statement. There's a big difference. He apologized for making the statement, but he didn't say, oh, you know what? Yesterday, I said that it was Spencer Burford's fault and not Colton McKivitz's fault.
Mhm.
But you know what? I made a mistake. It actually really was the fault of McKivitz. No, he didn't say that. He did not say that. He apologized for throwing Burford under the bus.
Right.
And that's between them. But he didn't take back the truth of his statement, coach, that it was on Burford. He stayed with that.
We're splitting hairs.
No, we're not. How is that splitting hairs? He did not take back what he said. He apologized for saying it, but he didn't take it back. How is that? That's not a complex thought. He said, I'm defending Colton McKivitz. It wasn't his fault. It was on Spencer Burford. The next day he said, you know what? I got drunk or whatever he said. I stayed up too late. I was whatever his excuse was for saying it. But he said, I shouldn't have said it, but he didn't take it back. Why? Because he knows it's the truth. And I just don't understand why that's so. You're getting caught up on the call and the relationship between Feliciano and Burford.
What on what relationship?
Feliciano,
They're teammates.
Right. Feliciano spoke
So
the
that's
truth.
all right. That's it. No special relationship. We're talking about basic level respect between teammates.
Right.
That's it.
So if
nothing
you
more, nothing less.
If you make a mistake in a live stream and everybody's raking Jesse, and I say, you know what, it really wasn't on Jesse, it was on Coach. Am I a bad teammate to you?
No,
or
but I would look at you. Yeah, you are, because I would look at you differently.
Am I a bad teammate to you, or am I a good teammate to Jesse?
You're a bad teammate, period.
Aren't I a good teammate? Why should Jesse, who didn't make the mistake, get blamed for your mistake?
Because you're supposed. I can answer that.
It's okay for you if I say something terrible and everybody blames you, and Jesse points out that Larry said it and not you. Should I be pissed at Jesse if it was the mistake that I made, or should I be like, hey man, you know what? I didn't like that you said that, but The truth is, it was my mistake. All I'm saying is the guy who made the mistake, in this case, Burford, should own it on his own.
He should own it on his own.
Why is that controversial?
Hold on. Wait. So he should own it on his own.
Yes.
We can agree on that. And anybody who's smart enough to understand while I'm leaving at that should know where my stance is. He should be able to own it on his own. I agree.
I don't understand why you are mad that John Feliciano spoke the truth as he saw it, and he knows what he's talking about because he plays the position.
I see how you're shaping the premise of the narrative where I don't see why you're mad that John Feliciano was telling the truth on Spencer Burford. Like, I understand.
And Colton McKivitz.
All right. I understand where you're coming from, but I'm choosing to agree with the statement that Spencer Burford should have had the opportunity to tell the truth on his own.
Coach, everybody in the locker room post game could have talked to any reporter. There's more media there than you can shake a stick at. Come on, man. Let's be real about this. You're making it seem like.
So hold on. What does that statement mean? Are you saying that?
Listen.
I'm saying that Spencer Burford had an opportunity to correct it.
All right, respectfully, I'm muting both of you right now. The 30 minutes. I gave you guys 30 minutes. We can move on. I've got 18 super chats. I appreciate it, and we can talk about it backstage if it's really that big of a deal. But we really got to move on. All right.
Fine.
All right.
Cool.
Let's go. Says, if we stay put at 31, knowing this regime's track record, what are the chances we draft O-line in that slot? I say D-line. Well, let's go. That's what we were just talking about, kind of, before we got into this whole thing. And Larry dropped the bombshell that he thinks that they covet D-line, which is true. We've seen that. And that they probably would draft D-line if that's the way it goes. So Carson Taylor says, I know Ward just had surgery, but I would have considered trading him just because next season we have to make a decision to pay Ward, Demo, Huff, Greenlaw, and BA. They don't have to get rid of Ward. No, they can't get rid of Ward. No way. And his surgery was small. It was something, I think he had like hernia or something. It was a groin thing or a hernia. It's not that big of a deal. Brother Bob says Sam Hartman and Gore Jr., JD, Bertrand, and Bo Braid. You just like a mock draft for you in here right now? Is that what you just like mocked the whole thing?
I do love Gore's kid. He's good.
He runs just like him. Oh my gosh, it's uncanny. They run. Yeah, it's crazy. Frank Tom Ocean says, when are we going to get Grant on one of these super shows? Grant is really hard to pin down for a quad box show or something. Michael says Danny Gray is Jalen Hurd 2.0. Oh gosh. Kalba Kaminga says Spot Rack, however you want to say it, put an $8 to $9 million value on D Hopkins. He'll get cut by Tennessee. If Ayuk is traded, would you get him? He had a nice year on a bad team that'll cut him. Reminds me of the Bolden type situation. I love Hopkins, but I would prefer to go younger.
He said today he's tired of all the talk saying that he's going to be leaving town.
Yeah, I saw that as well too. Like he's tired of it. He
kind of did that in Arizona though too before he left.
He did do that in Arizona.
He did do that in Arizona. I'm just saying.
That's his move.
Yeah, probably.
Go to, yeah.
Definitely.
Titus says, I appreciate y'all's thoughts. I figured it was something along those lines, and I think y'all are spot on. Thank you. Also, Larry, I really enjoyed your mock draft. I'd be excited to get Rice and Gore.
Yo, that mock draft was good, Larry. Like, tomorrow,
I want Rice. I want Rice.
Why? He cannot get open. He doesn't have yak, Larry.
Well, I'm not sure what round he's going to go, but to me, Jerry's kid has got some of the most incredible competitive traits I've seen. I gotta. The one thing we don't know, and this is why it's hard to talk draft right now, is so much of the NFL game's predicated on your 40 time, and I have no idea what he's going to run. But I've had people tell me he's going to run like 4.48, 4.49 at 6'4", 210 with what I've seen as far as his route running. That would make me excited to have him, let's say, mid-third round or later. We'll see.
Jordan Matthews says they need to take a page from the Harbaugh playbook, trade BA for a first, and solidify the O-line like we did with the Ayupati and Davis, ground and pound. Yeah, different run schemes.
Yeah, not power anymore, dog.
Mo says that you needed to take a walk, coach.
It's cool.
Josh says, but he still missed the assignment. Agreed, Krug. Okay. Jordan Matthews says the real problem, Kyle thinks the call was perfect.
He's not the best at taking criticism.
I see both sides. I see the execution of the play and the actual play not being carried out. And then I also understand that there's a philosophical debate on why you would make that play during that position of the game in that situation. So I see both sides.
What bothers me the most about that call was the fact that was their spot to do the Eagle run on third, run on fourth, keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. And I feel like they just kind of, I had Steve Young on before the Super Bowl. He said, Krug, Super Bowls aren't won. They're ripped from bloody hands. And the fact of the matter is when the Niners kicked the field goal there, they were trying to win the Super Bowl, but they had to rip it from Mahomes' bloody hands by going for it on third and then going for it on fourth and burning the clock. And I think, obviously 20/20 hindsight, but in hindsight, that's the way it turned out. And it was, I don't know how you guys felt, but when the Niners kicked the field goal there, I thought, oh man,
it's over. You saw on the did you see on the mic'd up, there's a player that looked at one of our guys during the mic'd up and said, that's not enough. He looked at it.
I know.
He said, you think that's enough? That's not enough. They even knew.
Ravi says, Larry, it's simple. You keep that ish in house, not on social media, and that he shouldn't feel the need to defend his teammates to fans on social media.
And that's why he apologized for it, because he knew he made a mistake. But he didn't take it back, but he made a mistake.
It was a mistake.
Abu Marco says, going to be a painful offseason. 49er Jojo says, love the way your guys get real, but at the end of the day, end of the show, no hard feelings. Love it, guys.
It's my guy, bro. Larry's my guy. As a matter of fact, we're on in 2 days. Larry's my guy.
Right. And we will continue. We'll figure it out.
It's gonna be so motherfucking on when we get on your show. Yes, like I'm being cool because Jesse is kind of held court right now, and we're playing nice. But we are going to circle this again on Saturday, Larry. We're going to circle this.
I'll be like the White House girl. We're going to circle back on that.
We're going to circle back.
Jordan says, "Who cares? Both of you stop crying and provide content to your audience." Your audience wants this trash. This trash cringe. Jesse, moderate the channel. It's embarrassing. Jordan,
I understand.
First of all, I for sure, but to be clear, this is on all of our platforms. Okay, I'm hosting, yes, but it's not just on my channel. It is on all of our channels. So there's a point where I've got to let it go, but also try to rein it in, right? And these are also grown men. Like, it is what it is. I don't know what to tell you, man. I get it. I agree. I'm with you. I was right here and I was like, okay, this is about 15 minutes played out, but at the same time, it is on their platforms too. So it's like, I don't know. Clarence says, I'm sick of what you've done to me.
That was a Gary Radnich line back in the day.
Brother Bob says, here's $2 for therapy, Jesse. Need some popcorn. Manny says, Feliciano only said it wasn't McKivitt's man. Burford outed himself by responding, nobody said it was Burford's fault outright. Are we sure about that? I'm pretty sure he said.
Well, it was just understood what he said, right?
Yeah. That's true, though. That is very true.
Burying Burford. He didn't name Burford.
He didn't literally
know what that meant.
He did apologize.
He alluded. Yeah.
We know.
Everybody knew.
TVU says, are Larry and Coach still cool with each other? Yeah, I think they're
we're
fine.
good, man.
We're good. We're good.
Fine.
Brunny Side Up says, Super Bowl loss already hurt our locker room. Don't let it hurt our content creator room, too. We need all y'all to go to the long haul. Let's appreciate each other.
No, but this is honestly, these are conversations that we don't have on stream. Like, these are things that we go back with each other and fresh after a game or something that you guys are all talking about when we're trying to get topics together. Larry, how many times have we been like pre-show going through topics and like you may disagree with something, I may disagree with something, and then in the middle of us arguing, we have to say, yo, save it for the show, save it for the show, save it for the show. So how
All
many
the time.
times does that happen, Larry?
Basically every week.
Yeah, it happens all the time. So this is just, I understand that it's jarring to kind of see like how we really get at each other over topics that we disagree with. But the truth of the matter is, I saw that comment too. That's very Robbie is hilarious. But but what I'm here to say is that we're passionate about our team. We're passionate about winning. And we all have our own view of how we're going to get there. And that's the awesome part about collabing with these guys, because we get to be able to show deference to each other's desires. So look, Larry saw it one way. I see it another way. And we're going to meet in the middle, as we always do. It'll be fine.
And, you know, all I'll say, and I don't want to add anything to it, but I was right and Coach was wrong.
That should let you know everything you need to know.
Michael says, last one and mock for the night, 13 via BA trade. JC Latham, right tackle, Alabama. You're just singing to Coach's heart. Jackson Powers Johnson, center, Oregon. Yeah, he's legit. Sign right guard Hunt. O-line is salt. I mean, Jackson Powers Johnson, though, I mean, you're not going to get, I don't know if you're going to get Latham
this is
at
my
31.
only thing. If we retool the offensive line, are we really going to watch Kyle go 5 wide and 3 wide for 70% of the season? Are we really going to get this beautiful offensive line retooled just to watch them pass block the entire time? Or are we going to dominate? That's my biggest question.
God, I mean,
I don't think
would we even recognize a dominant 49er offensive line at this point? I mean,
the last time we had one was in 2019 when we threw the ball 8 times against Green Bay.
I'd love to see it. I kind of wonder if we're ever going to see a dominant Niner O-line. They were 20th in pass block win rate.
Fucking,
it's not good enough.
And we're over here arguing about the pass blocking in general, and it's just shitty to begin with.
It just sucks.
We're over here arguing over which is the best.
Here's what's funny. So when I do normal shows, I come up with 5 topics, right? If it's me and one person. I said tonight, hey, I've got 4 topics because I know that can carry this show for hours. We got to 2 topics. 2 topics. So there you go. You don't even have to have an imagination to do these shows. When I go on with Vish and Larry or Coach and Larry, it's going to be hours of entertainment. Whether you agree or disagree, I know some of you are turned off when people were getting angry or whatever, but the ultimate thing is we can carry a show with only 2 topics. Thank all of you so much for giving your input as well, because one of your super chats turns into a 40-minute conversation in itself. We really couldn't do it without you. Much love to each one of you in the chat. And if you want more of Coach and Larry, make sure that you tune in to both their channels Saturday morning, where they will be live. All right, y'all. Much love, peace, and stay blessed.
Peace.